The bouquet fell to the ground, and the beautiful flowers scattered everywhere, no longer whole. Sobbing came from somewhere. Then a voice suddenly rang out. "Hey, stop crying." The girl lifted her face and turned around. A pitiful little girl was crying over the fallen bouquet. A boy happened to walk up behind her. The boy reached out with a purple hydrangea in his hand and said she had to be a little braver. The little girl stared at that simple purple flower in surprise. That flower was so beautiful, and she remembered that purple bloom for the rest of her life, along with its color and the boy's warm smile and kind gesture. Huayu wiped away her sweat with effort, holding a mop and letting out a long breath as she looked around. Seeing that everything in the room was now neat and tidy, Huayu told herself, "Finally, it's all cleaned up." Suddenly, the phone beside her chimed with a new message notification. Smiling, Huayu scrolled through the messages. Her father had texted, "Huayu, have you found a new place to stay yet? How does it feel?" Then came a message from her mother. "Something this big, and you didn't even tell your parents, so we could come help? You turned 18 and flew off right away. Honestly, there's still 2 weeks before registration day, so why rush over so early?" Seeing her parents' concern, Huayu replied, "I finally got into my dream university, so I wanted to come a little early and get used to things. Don't worry. I'm doing great, and I've already cleaned the room." After that, she even sent them a photo of herself in the freshly cleaned room, as if inviting them to have a look. When her mother saw the photo, she replied, "Oh, pretty hard-working, huh? Ha ha." Her father, meanwhile, texted back, "Our Dudu has always been this brave." She stared at that message for a moment, slightly stunned. Brave. Huayu fell silent and touched her bracelet thoughtfully. "I like that word. Back then, that person had told me to be a little braver. By now, I can't even remember what he looked like anymore. The only thing I can't forget is that gentle encouragement, and that bouquet that was as gentle as he was." She touched the necklace she was wearing. Huayu gazed intently at the flower pendant on her necklace. Ever since then, she had never seen another flower quite like it. What is this, anyway? Some kind of rare flower. Standing on a balcony and looking around, something suddenly caught her eye. She looked to the side and saw several wilted potted plants, lifeless and withered. She said, "They've all dried up. What a pity. Did the previous tenant leave them behind?" She quietly looked over as the leaves rustled softly in the breeze. Looking at the dead plant, Huayu thought, "I may as well throw it out." Outside, gentle sunlight illuminated beautiful pink flowers. Footsteps sounded along with labored breathing. Huff, huff. Huayu walked down the street with difficulty, carrying a garbage bag in both hands along with the flower pot, panting tiredly. Huayu and Feng Xin passed by each other quietly. At that moment, she was thinking, there's really a lot of trash to throw away all at once. Suddenly, she noticed something nearby. A girl was saying, "Hey, do you need help? Carrying that many books must be exhausting. Let us help you." The other girl replied cheerfully, "Thank you so much, but it's only a few books. I'm not tired." Huayu heard their conversation. "I'm used to this kind of situation." Because she wasn't pretty, her appearance always unintentionally made her look stern and rigid, and it was only natural that no one dared approach her. Because of that, she felt she needed to change. Huayu suddenly smiled and lifted her chin. "But should I try managing my expressions a little? Maybe it'll be easier to make friends in college. Maybe like this?" Seeing her strange behavior, the people around her began glancing at Huayu. She kept changing her expression and posture, like this, and people kept staring at her. When she reached a corner and noticed their reactions, Huayu gloomily realized, I guess this doesn't suit me. So embarrassing. I am scared in pasadas by. At that moment, a young man happened to brush past her. Because they were too close, the two of them collided. With so many things in her hands, she nearly fell and cried out, "Ah!" The young man's back paused for a moment, then he reached out again. Chiwu leaned over and caught the person in front of him, his arm wrapping around her neck and shoulder to steady her body. Huayu's heart went thump, thump, pounding wildly. Embarrassed, she thought, "How careless of me. I almost fell, and someone actually helped me." She looked up and said, Thank you." Then her eyes widened in shock. His expression was cold, and his blue eyes stared straight at her. Huayu said again, Thank you." Chiwu didn't answer, only tilted his head and looked at her. Idiot." Then he strode away without responding to her thanks. Huayu didn't know how to react. Lowering her head to look at the flower pot in her arms, she thought, I think I just got looked down on. Her eyes drooped sadly, and Huayu comforted herself. This is normal. What's there to be surprised about? Huayu turned to look at the young man's retreating back. Inwardly, she judged him. This guy has such a terrible attitude. Even if I'm a stranger, he doesn't need to go that far. Then she threw the trash into a roadside bin and ignored him. She placed the flower pot beneath the trash can, then dusted off her hands and let out a relieved breath. Mission accomplished. A fragrant pink flower branch caught Huayu's attention. What a nice smell. Is it flower fragrance? She looked around as if searching for the source. Closing her eyes, she savored it, breathing in that natural floral scent again and again. Huayu felt extremely happy, and all the exhaustion vanished from her face. Seeing the clear weather, she told herself, maybe I should take a little walk. Flower petals lay scattered at her feet, and Huayu was astonished, her eyes shining brightly. She couldn't believe the sight before her and let out a delighted cry as she looked at the road lined on both sides. I never imagined there'd be a place this beautiful here. As she walked, Huayu kept taking pictures. Delighted, she snapped photo after photo and thought, I should take a few and send them to Mom. Suddenly, she heard an argument. I quit. She looked down and saw an angry-looking woman. Who is that? Such a bad temper. Xiao Jinling said angrily, it was just one crushed flower that got dropped, that's all. The person beside her tried to hold her back. Come on, don't mind him. Miss, don't go. Huayu watched suspiciously and wondered, what's going on? Then she suddenly saw the woman sprawl on the ground and lament. Hiring employees is really too hard. Seeing that baffling behavior, Huayu could hardly believe it. She actually lay down on the ground. Then the woman looked up and saw her. Right after that, she rushed over, grabbed Huayu's hands, and asked with a smile, Miss, do you want to apply for the job? Still unable to process that behavior, Huayu asked in fright, apply? Although startled by the sudden enthusiasm, she stammered. And no, taking a closer look at the other woman, Huayu thought, the lady in front of me is so pretty. Why do I keep running into beautiful people today? Without waiting for her to react, the flower shop owner quickly pushed her forward and said, Come on, you can look around first. Hurry, let's go. Huayu had no idea how to respond as the person behind her kept pushing her. Wait. Pretty as she was also kind of strange. She tried to explain, I really was just passing by. The person behind her cheerfully replied, It's fine. Looking ahead, Huayu froze. Wow, the flower shop was huge and beautiful, like a paradise for flowers. Huayu lifted her eyes and stared in fascination. Sunflower flower shop. How many times have I gasped in amazement today? The woman walked ahead and waved as she introduced herself. Gumin, I'm the owner of this flower shop. She invited Huayu inside and said, You'd work 6 hours a day here, with Saturdays and Sundays off. If you agree, meals and lodging are included too. Holding up 2 fingers, she announced, the salary is this much. You wouldn't even need to do much, just stand at the door and welcome visitors. Inside were countless pots of flowers and beautiful bouquets. The flower shop owner continued, My shop is small, but we've been in business for 20 years now. Every single flower here is grown by our family. Cradling each flower tenderly, she said with affection, These flowers are all my treasures. Huayu stood beside her and watched. The woman said, I'll make some tea. Wait a moment, okay? Feel free to look around. Feeling awkward at being treated so warmly, Huayu declined. You really don't have to go to so much trouble. She looked a little flustered by such hospitality and thought, the owner is way too enthusiastic. If I leave now, wouldn't that seem a bit rude? Huayu found herself drawn in by the flowers in the room. She looked at the flower-shaped bell hanging above the display frame. Gazing at all the flowers in the shop, Huayu marveled. There are so many kinds I've never even seen before. Suddenly, Huayu's eyes widened in surprise. There was a pot of purple flowers, the exact same purple as the flower in her memory. It was the very same kind of flower from that memory. Huayu thought of the warm boy holding the flower out to her. This is for you. She bent down to take a closer look at it. At that moment, everything felt incredibly wondrous. All her senses were drawn to the flower. For some reason, it felt just like a magical key. She reached out, wanting to touch it, as if the moment she did, some marvelous journey would begin. A cold voice said, "Get away. You'll ruin it." Huayu looked up at the speaker, her face darkening, but to her surprise, her heart started pounding wildly. Looking at Chi Wu's cold, devil-like expression, she felt a mix of fear and confusion. Just as she was about to touch the flower, a wicked dragon had appeared out of nowhere. What he was talking about was that potted hydrangea. At that moment, the shop bell rang out with a cheerful chime. Huayu quietly looked at the young man before her, but he was far more focused on the flower pot in front of him than on the person beside him. Then he turned to her and said impatiently, "Move aside." His voice made her jump. When she looked up, she saw Chi Wu staring at her with eyes that clearly wanted to drive her away. She finally recognized him. Looking more carefully at his face, she realized this was the same guy who had rudely insulted her the moment they met. She stole a cautious glance at him, puzzled. Why am I running into him here too? I don't want any trouble. Just looking at him, he doesn't seem easy to deal with at all. With her nervous expression, she timidly turned to Chi Wu and said, "Am I in your way?" Suddenly, Chi Wu leaned closer, startling her. She thought he was about to do something, and out of instinct, she raised both hands in front of herself defensively. But Chi Wu didn't do anything to her at all. He simply reached out and picked up the flower pot. Realizing he wasn't doing anything to her, Huayu opened her eyes. Looking to the side, she saw Chi Wu lifting the flower pot in front of him. Then he examined the base of the plant, inspecting every corner closely before checking the bottom of the pot to see if it had been damaged. Her face instantly flushed red, embarrassed that in all her confusion and anxiety, she had been treated like she was invisible. She turned to look at him. "Does he think I'm some kind of pest?" Feeling awkward, she said, "I only wanted to look at it. I hadn't even touched it yet. Do you want to buy it?" But Chi Wu still just kept examining the potted plant. Suddenly, he turned his face away and muttered, "That woman, seriously, she'll hire just anyone." Huayu was startled for a moment, then thought it over. That woman. She immediately thought of the flower shop owner. Oh, so they know each other? Could he be an employee here? Huayu turned to explain. The owner was the one who kept insisting I come in and work. I never intended to work here. Chi Wu was still holding the flower pot. When he heard that, he looked a little surprised, then turned around to look at Huayu, frightening her all over again. He slowly stepped toward her. "Is that so?" His tall frame could almost completely block her from view. He came closer and lowered his face toward hers. His tone was a little sharp. "Then I hope you mean what you say. After all, the people before you said the exact same thing at first." Suddenly, his voice grew unusually subdued. But in the end, they stayed because of money or vanity. One of them wanted a salary of 6,000 yuan a month, and the flower shop owner still warmly agreed, even though it went over budget. "As long as you stay, it's fine." Another saw how beautiful the flower garden was and secretly took pictures to steal and post online just to look good on social media. Huayu looked up at Chi Wu, and when it comes to taking care of flowers, none of those girls understood anything. They never even tried to learn, and they certainly weren't devoted to the work. If a flower wilted, they cut it off. If it died, they threw it away. He turned and challenged her. "Aren't you the same? Didn't you just throw away a flower pot too?" She remembered the withered pot she had thrown away. So that was the flower pot he meant. Suddenly, she realized it. Could it be that the harsh thing he said earlier had been because of that flower pot? He had only met her once, and he already thought she was that kind of person. Huayu looked toward Chi Wu, but he wasn't paying any attention to her. Huayu's face flushed red. "I get it now. This guy really is an arrogant, overbearing jerk. I can't believe I was trying to make excuses for his awful attitude earlier. No wonder that girl before insisted on leaving." Huayu's words made Chi Wu, who had been walking away, turn back to look at her. Standing there awkwardly, Huayu finally spoke her mind. "The person who really ought to leave is you. Because of an employee like you, customers leave because of your arrogant attitude. That's why this flower shop has so few customers, and why the owner has to work so hard trying to hire new staff. These flowers are left here with no one to admire them. That's just too pitiful." Her words clearly took Chi Wu by surprise. The air around them suddenly turned unnaturally silent. Chi Wu's anger was obvious on his face. So angry he could barely speak. "Oh." Yu grew a little frightened. She swallowed hard, her heart uneasy as she thought, what now? Is he angry for being told off? Is he going to hit me? This is a law-abiding society, you know? Suddenly, a voice cut through and dissolved the tense atmosphere. All right, sorry to keep you waiting. The shop owner came out carrying a tray of tea and pastries. The moment she saw Chi-Woo, her face lit up. Chi-Woo, you're here? Chi-Woo turned to look at the woman in front of him, then answered with a single word, Mom. Yu instantly froze, then finally reacted and blurted out, Mom? Realizing she had spoken too loudly, she immediately felt embarrassed and looked at Chi-Woo. He glanced to Yu too, and seeing that she was looking at him, he silently mouthed to her, So you really don't understand anything at all. Yu felt both angry and embarrassed. Just then, Chi-Woo's mother came over warmly and said to her, Miss, come on. I just brewed some flower tea. Don't be shy. Yu was still embarrassed about what had just happened and stammered, I'm not drinking any. I have to go. Chi-Woo's mother looked a little surprised at her reaction. It seemed she had wanted to give Yu a little gift, but she hesitated and tucked it back into her bag. She stepped forward and took Yu's hands. Did my son say something to upset you? That child is just like that. The way he talks makes it easy for him to offend people. Please don't be angry, okay? He's really just a fool. Hearing those words from her made Yu feel a little awkward. The owner spoke somewhat clumsily. Take these with you, please. Think of it as a little apology from me. Yu accepted the gift, feeling a bit embarrassed, then turned and left. As she stepped out the door, the bell rang behind her. While Chi-Woo still stood there cradling the flower pot, Yu's words kept echoing in his mind. These flowers are left here with no one to admire them. That's just too pitiful. Just thinking of that was enough to make him unhappy. Chi-Woo. A voice calling from behind startled him. Chi-Woo turned around, as though he had to face something very dark. That night, in Yu's bedroom, she took out the bag of pastries the flower shop owner had given her. Sitting on the bed, she nibbled on a sweet pastry, a book resting against her thigh while she scrolled through her phone. After taking a bite, she blurted out, This is so good. Even though that guy Chi-Woo is really annoying, the owner is such a gentle person. Clearly, she shouldn't have been the one apologizing. Thinking back on it, she realized, at the time I was too angry. I left without even saying thank you. After finishing the pastry, she lay down on her bed. If I get the chance next time, I'll go thank her properly. And it definitely has to be when that guy isn't there. With that, she turned off the light and drew the curtains. She checked the balance in her account. There was only $840,000 left. Looking at the amount, she thought, after paying the rent, this is all I have left. She saw that her mother had sent a message in the family group chat. Eat less takeout, stay up less late. Yu immediately sent a cute sticker with the words, Don't worry, into the group. Staring at the chat screen, she put down her phone and kept patting her cheeks, telling herself, No, I insisted on coming here on my own. I can't let Mom and Dad pay for my whim. Just then, her phone chimed with another message. When she opened it, she saw her mother had written, Dudu, how was your day today? Remembering everything that had happened, Yu felt aggrieved. But she still sent a message that was completely different from how she really felt. Absolutely great, along with a cute, cheerful sticker. She thought to herself, if I hadn't run into that guy, today really would have been a happy day. She remembered the flower shop owner's harsh words to her. When flowers wither, you cut them off. When they die, you throw them away. Wasn't she the same? Hadn't she just thrown out a flower pot herself? The more she thought about it, the more upset she felt. She tossed her phone aside and pulled up the blanket, planning to just sleep the day away. The next morning, Yu walked while scrolling on her phone. More accurately, she was trying to find herself a stable job. She told herself that no matter what, she had to find some part-time work to cover her living expenses. But none of these jobs really seemed right for her. Just then, a crumpled paper ball someone threw accidentally hit her on the head. The wad of paper rolled to a stop at Yu's feet. Curious, she bent down and picked it up. What the heck is this? When she unfolded it, it turned out to be a flyer. Inside was a discount flyer for Sunflower Flower Shop. Following the ad, Yu looked around in confusion. Why was this flyer crumpled up like this? Sunflower Flower Shop. She noticed that other people were getting hit by the flyers too. Smack, smack. Ow, what is this? She was bewildered. It was Chi-Woo, crumpling up the promotional cards. He grumbled, what a pain. First thing in the morning, and I have to do this. Out of habit, he tossed one behind him, but it flew back and hit him instead. Thud. Chi-Woo turned around and saw the girl standing there watching him. The two fell into a stiff silence while the wind whistled past. Huayu said, "Why are all your actions so weird?" Chi-Woo got annoyed. He replied, "What's it got to do with you?" Huayu thought, "That's true. It has nothing to do with me, and it's not like I care about him anyway." Then she saw the handmade sunflower decorations scattered on the ground. So this is why he made the other employees so angry they quit, and the owner made him dress like this and hand out flyers? Hee hee, this really is public humiliation. Huayu imagined Chi-Woo turned into a human sunflower handing out flyers and burst out laughing. He snapped angrily, "What are you laughing at?" Then Huayu bent down to pick up the sunflower pieces, leaving him confused. Chi-Woo said, "Stop meddling." She pieced them together into a butterfly pair and said, "This wing design is pretty unique." She even put the sunflower headband on herself. Huayu said, "Don't get the wrong idea. I'm only doing this to thank your mom for the pastries. And honestly, I just can't bear to watch you ruin all these flyers." Chi-Woo was a little surprised. He asked, "What are you after?" She sighed, neatly straightened the flyers, and said, "Please, not everyone has some ulterior motive like you think. Let me be blunt. Don't you think your attitude is way too arrogant? You're never going to bring business to your mother's flower shop like this." Hearing that, Chi-Woo seemed to understand a little. He scratched his back and secretly followed Huayu to see what she was going to do. He thought, I don't believe she can attract a single customer." Time passed like falling leaves drifting past the branches. He saw Huayu still earnestly calling out, "Hello, please take a look at our flower shop event. Hello." But all her effort was met with indifference from passers-by, which made Huayu feel discouraged. Chi-Woo watched everything. Some girls nearby mocked her. "Haha, look at that schoolgirl. She's dressed so ridiculously. Is she filming some kind of short video?" Pretending to look ugly to get attention isn't a trend anymore. Huayu felt a little sad. Not a single flyer had been handed out. Then she heard someone call out, "Miss, I've seen you standing here for a long time. Could I get a flyer too?" Huayu brightened immediately and warmly handed him one. "Here you go." He said, "Thanks," but took the chance to touch her hand. Huayu felt it, but then Chi-Woo stepped in and stopped that filthy hand. He glared at the guy with a frightening expression. The young man said, "I just brushed against it." Chi-Woo squeezed his hand painfully. The guy got scared and backed away. Seeing that, Huayu said, "Thank you," while Chi-Woo ignored her. Embarrassed, she said, "But that guy was the only one who took a flyer." He said, "People like that aren't welcome at my shop." Huayu was a little surprised. He added, "What? Going to say I'm arrogant again?" She said, No, that's not it. What you said wasn't wrong at all." Then Chi-Woo pulled the sunflower hoop off her head. "Take this off already. It looks stupid." Huayu was startled. He grabbed a handful, making her freeze. He said, "What are you looking at?" She replied, "Nothing." Suddenly someone called out, Hey, mister, if I take a flyer, can we exchange WeChat?" Chi-Woo was caught off guard and made an uncomfortable face, which frightened the two girls. Sorry." Fortunately, Huayu stepped in to help. Sorry, he was just overwhelmed by the enthusiasm of you beautiful ladies, so he's shy. "Here, this is the flyer. Please take one." Even though this guy looks fierce, has a bad temper, and even curses at people, Chi-Woo got angry, but Huayu kept going. The flower shop itself is really beautiful, so if you have time, please definitely come take a look. The two girls still whispered, "He's so scary. Let's go." Those two are really weird. They let out a breath. Whoosh. Chi-Woo said, "I wasn't shy at all." Huayu replied, "Then sorry, I misunderstood." She secretly laughed. Whoosh. This is just a tiny little revenge on my part. After that, they stood there watching the crowd pass by. Huayu said, "There's still this many left?" Chi-Woo said, "You'll get used to this if you see it often enough." He glanced over and saw her adjusting her hair. Huayu turned toward him, looking a little downcast. "Sorry, it seems like I really couldn't help much at all. For two people nobody welcomes to hand out flyers. This really is a high difficulty task, huh?" That made even him feel a little affected. Chi-Woo said nothing. Huayu murmured, "But there seems to be this faint, sweet, floral scent in the air. It smells really nice. Can you smell it?" He turned to her and finally said, "You're surrounded by flowers here. Isn't it normal for there to be a fragrance?" She said, "Oh, I guess that's true. Haha, I'm kind of silly." Chi-Woo said, "Boring." His phone chimed with a message from his younger brother. "I passed by your shop just now and heard Mom punished you by making you hand out flyers." He replied, "MM." His brother texted back, "Haha, don't tell me you tore them all up." He didn't reply. Chi-Woo saw Huayu sniffling and thought she was crying. Meanwhile, Huayu thought, I talked so confidently earlier, but in the end I wasn't able to help at all. How embarrassing. Huayu said, if you want to laugh at me, then go ahead. Anyway, I think I'm pretty useless. Her words made him feel a bit guilty. Chiwu gave a slight laugh. Then he texted, right, let me ask you something. How do you hand out flyers in a way that attracts people? A shocked reply came immediately. Have you lost your mind? He replied, handing out flyers. His younger brother texted back, oh, you can't hand them out because you don't know how to talk, right? Easy. Just do what I say. Huayu wondered why he wasn't reacting at all. She sneaked a glance and saw Chi-Wu tying up his hair. The wind swept past, and she was stunned by how beautiful he looked. Chi-Wu looked like a carefree young man in the spring breeze, which accentuated his dark blue hair. Huayu was stunned. Why did you suddenly change your look? He replied, none of your business. Then another message came, listen to me. Chi-Wu immediately put his attractive body to use, showing off his muscles and striking poses like a prince descended to the mortal world. After that, just wait. His looks instantly stirred up the girls nearby. They ran over to Chi-Wu and said, excuse me, hello, can we take a photo with you? Huayu was a little surprised. She thought of what happened before. Please don't let that happen again. Chi-Wu said, sure. Then he held out the flyers. But before that, please take a look at this. They replied, okay, thank you. Huayu was a little shocked to see Chi-Wu so proactive. A lot of people crowded around him. Me too. He's so handsome. Please give me one. She was stunned. What is happening? Chi-Wu was being swarmed, everything noisy and bustling. He struggled to break free and tugged at Huayu's sleeve. He tried to ask her for help. This is my limit. Then she said, everyone, sorry, but today the flower shop's handsome guy isn't feeling well enough to keep taking photos. Why? He's very tired. But everyone can take a flyer first, and later you can use the address on it to come find him. They replied, okay, which left Chi-Wu surprised. The girls excitedly said, that's true. If we crowd him like this, it'll affect his work. Getting a few handsome photos is enough. Let's go show the girls later. Next time, let's stop by the shop and support the business. Huayu said, thank you, goodbye. They replied, we need one here too. She said bye-bye. Then she turned back and said, you worked hard. Chi-Wu wiped himself off and said, TSK, what kind of stupid idea was that brat brother's? Next time I see him, I'm definitely beating him up. She said, huh? What? He replied, nothing. Chi-Wu seemed to be thinking. He sighed and said, actually, the one who should be saying thank you is me. After all, you're the one who helped me. She said, I already told you I did it for your mom, so you don't need to think too much about it. There was again that faint floral fragrance. Was it really only her imagination? That fresh scent made people feel strangely at ease. By now, the two of them had finished handing out all the flyers. Chi-Wu and Huayu both fixed up their clothes. Just as she slung on her backpack, her phone suddenly rang. When she answered, it turned out to be her father calling. She picked up right away. Hello, Dad. I'm just about to buy some daily necessities. It's enough, really enough. Don't worry. Okay, I'll hang up now. Bye-bye. After she hung up, Chi-Wu happened to notice that she was browsing job listings. Seeing that, he asked, do you live nearby? Hearing that, Huayu said a little awkwardly, yeah, I just moved here yesterday. I haven't even finished unpacking yet. Suddenly, he remembered that when they first met, he had called her stupid for no reason. Thinking of that, Chi-Wu felt a little embarrassed and quickly turned his face away. So that means that flower pot wasn't hers after all. I misunderstood her. After hesitating for a while, he blurted out, sorry. She asked blankly, what? Nothing. I'm leaving. Bye-bye. He let out a soft sound. Watching her walk away, Chi-Wu suddenly called after her, wait a second. There's a call for you. As he spoke, he handed his phone to her. She looked a little surprised. Huh? A call for me? Just answer it. So she picked up. Hello. A little later, she went with him to the flower shop. As soon as they entered, the flower shop owner greeted them warmly. Oh my, we meet again. That's wonderful. We were so lucky to have you today, miss. Why you wave her hands? No, I just happened to pass by. If it weren't for you, not a single flyer would have gone out today. He definitely would have thrown them all away. As she spoke, she jabbed Chi-Wu's arm. Hearing that, Huayu said, but actually, he was the one who handed out all the flyers. As she spoke, Huayu stole a glance at him watering the flowers. The owner smiled gently and said, I think you really have a connection with us. How about coming to work part-time here? The earlier conditions still stand. I'll pay you this amount. What do you think? The moment Huayu heard the pay, her eyes lit up. She couldn't believe it was 3,000. But then she felt a little guilty when she thought of Chi Wu. Still, after the owner made the offer, she found herself wanting to hold on to it. In distress, she thought, he'll definitely agree, right? And after everything he said before, if I accept, wouldn't that be like slapping myself in the face? Even though, for a freshman like me, this really is way too tempting. Suddenly, the owner turned and asked with a smile, "So, what do you think?" Without much expression, he simply answered him. Hearing that, Huayu was completely surprised. The owner said again, "Then let's happily settle it like that." Huayu felt helpless. "I haven't agreed yet. Aren't you worried about finding a part-time job? My place is definitely the best one you'll find." Huayu froze. How does she know I'm looking for a part-time job? "All right, miss, what's your name?" Hearing the owner ask, she quickly replied, "Huayu." The owner beckoned to her. Huayu, come have some tea." So the three of them sat down together at the table to drink tea and eat pastries. She said, "Thank you." Huayu reflected silently. "Mom, Dad, today is my 5th day in this new city. It's amazing. I've already found a part-time job here so quickly." The next day, on her very first day of work, she was carrying a potted plant outside. Seeing this, he walked over and said, "What are you doing?" "I want to move the flowers from inside out into the sun." Hearing that, he immediately explained, "This kind doesn't need direct sunlight. Next time, ask me first before doing anything." Huayu nodded. "Got it. I'll remember that." Looking at him, she thought, this boy named Chi Wu is the flower shop owner's son. Sometimes I still can't quite handle his attitude. While she was thinking, he said, "Move the rest over here." Okay. He always looked so fierce, but when it came to plants, he was extremely gentle and careful. She looked up at the sign, Sunflower Flower Shop. A small smile unconsciously appeared on her lips. It's a name that makes people feel warm. A little later, a girl came into the flower shop. As soon as she saw a customer, Huayu said nervously, "Welcome." She bowed slightly toward the girl. "It is our great honor to have you visit our shop." The girl froze. "Huh? That formal? I'm here to pick up the flowers I ordered in advance." "I understand. Please wait a moment." Then she turned and called inside Chi Wu. He was currently busy wrapping flowers. As soon as he finished, he said, "Come take it. Over here." Huayu hurried over to him. The moment she saw it, she was captivated by how beautiful the bouquet was. She took it and gave him a thumbs up, praising him endlessly. "I have to say, the bouquet you made is really beautiful. Even I can't help giving you a like." Seeing that, he looked a little embarrassed. He turned her head away and said coldly, "That's because the flowers themselves are beautiful. All right, hurry up and take it to the customer. Stop talking nonsense." After taking a few steps, she unconsciously looked back at him. Sheesh, he's obviously really happy. As soon as the girl received the bouquet, she said excitedly, "It's so beautiful. Coming here because of that flyer from before was totally worth it. Today is the 3-month anniversary of our relationship." After saying a few more words, the girl said goodbye to Huayu, and Huayu warmly replied, "Please come again next time. The flowers in this shop really do seem strangely gorgeous. Just looking at them makes your heart feel warm. Being surrounded by flowers really is so happy." While admiring the flowers, Huayu suddenly remembered something. That's right. Immediately, she hurriedly searched every corner. Not here either. No. Seeing her running everywhere, he got a little curious and walked over to ask, "What are you looking for?" Seeing him, she replied a little awkwardly, "Well, it's a little embarrassing to say, but do you remember that potted flower you took away during our last argument? I have a pendant, and the flower petal inside, it looks a lot like that flower, but I can't be sure. So I wanted to confirm it. Is that flower pot still in the shop?" Hearing that, he leaned closer and stared intently at her necklace. "This is yours?" Huayu nodded. 8 years ago, a child gave me a flower. I took one of its petals and turned it into this pendant. But ever since then, I've never seen another flower like it. Do you know it?" "No, I don't know it." As soon as he said that, he turned and walked away. "You must have seen it wrong. These two are completely different flowers. There are plenty of rare plants in the world. Besides, there's still many flowers here that haven't been watered, so don't forget that." As she watered the flowers, she felt puzzled. Thinking back to the way he denied it, "No, I don't know." She felt a little disappointed too. That reaction didn't look like someone who knew nothing at all. Then why deny it? Suddenly, a loud voice rang out. "What do you mean by that? What do you mean I'm like that again?" The noise made it impossible for her to focus on watering. When she looked over, the girl was still shouting, "I must have been blind to like someone like you. Let's end it here. We're breaking up." Huayu also recognized her as the girl from earlier. "You rotten jerk." As she said that, The girl ruthlessly threw the bouquet into the trash can beside her. That was the bouquet he had just made. Looking at the bouquet in the trash, Huayu felt a little sad and picked it up. You're just throwing it away like this? What a waste. But to her surprise, the once vivid bouquet had now become a withered bunch of flowers. She froze. I didn't see wrong, did I? At that moment, Chi Wu was in the garden behind the flower shop, trimming branches. He was quietly cutting stems when Huayu suddenly rushed in shouting, as if the house were on fire. Chi Wu. Something terrible happened. Because of that, the flowering plant in his hand got ruined. From outside, she came running in, panting, holding the bouquet. This flower, He turned around and looked at her with annoyance. Why are you yelling like that? Huayu pointed at the bouquet and said, this is the bouquet you made, right? It turned into this. They've already withered. Just before this, he still looked so love-struck. Who would have thought feelings could disappear so quickly? Seeing her making such a big deal out of it, he said irritably, you're really putting on an act. But she kept going, the feelings disappeared? I don't get it. I did think they seemed to be arguing. But what does that have to do with these flowers? Hey, tell me, could these flowers have come to life and change with their moods? If they argue, the flowers wither right away? And no, that's not right. After the founding of the country, things aren't allowed to become spirits. So don't tell me this is some supernatural incident. Or magic, maybe? Should I post it online and ask everyone? Hearing that, he got annoyed and snatched the bouquet from her hands. The more you talk, the more ridiculous this gets. You're overthinking it. How could something like that be possible? Do you want to post it online so everyone can laugh at our shop? But look, it only took a few minutes for it to turn into this. Doesn't that seem abnormal? Chi Wu was so speechless and annoyed that he turned away without a word. Hey, don't ignore me. Look at it, just look. Seeing that, he snapped, you're kind of noisy. Sorry. That night, while you lay awake in bed, tossing and turning, no matter how she thought about it, it still didn't make sense. It really didn't make sense. Stop thinking about it. Go to sleep. But no matter what, she just couldn't fall asleep. She simply couldn't sleep. Looking at the faint breeze outside the window, she decided that useless overthinking wouldn't help, so she might as well go out and get some air. She changed clothes and headed out. She bought a drink, then sank into thought again. What a miscalculation. Who would have thought it would still be so hot in this city even at night? As she drank, Huayu suddenly noticed that this seemed to be the road leading to the garden behind the flower shop. She hadn't realized she'd walked this far. As she spoke, she slowly walked down the steps. It's so quiet. Last time she had passed through this little path too, and that's how she met the shop owner and Chi Wu as well. Thinking back on it, she had made him unhappy again today. But honestly, she had been in the wrong, clinging to him like that. Thinking carefully, they weren't even that close. Could they be considered friends? Probably not. Just then, she suddenly heard a voice. De Wong, stop fooling around. When she looked over, it turned out to be Chi Wu and his dog. Huh, Chi Wu. At that moment, he was loudly shooing the puppy away. Go back to your room. Huayu thought to herself, it's this late, and he's still working? When she saw him holding the bouquet from that morning, she grew suspicious. What is he doing? At that moment, Chi Wu was using magic on the bouquet. A light spread out. The withered bouquet transformed back into a vibrant one. Her eyes went wide in disbelief. She was so frightened that a cold sweat broke out, and she hurried to hide behind the bushes. She thought to herself, I just saw something absolutely shocking that I wasn't supposed to see. Her whole body trembled involuntarily. She couldn't believe her joke had actually turned out to be true. No wonder he got so mad before. So magic really does exist in this world. And that person is Chi Wu. She had just started to stand up to leave when she froze. No, he probably doesn't want anyone else finding out about this, right? If I rush over there recklessly, I might scare him. Judging from how he's reacted before, I probably won't get another chance to confirm it. She lightly touched her pendant and wondered, could that little boy from back then have something to do with him? My brain is about to crash. Can somebody please tell me what I'm supposed to do right now? While panicking, she seemed to bump into something. Out of curiosity, Huayu gently parted the bushes. To her surprise, there was a young man sleeping inside. Seeing how soundly he slept, she wondered, asleep? Is he some kind of drifter? In the middle of his peaceful sleep, he suddenly opened his eyes. It scared her out of her wits. You startled me. Seeing that, the two of them hurriedly clamped their hands over each other's mouths. Realizing something felt very off, Hua Yu blushed in embarrassment and quickly let go. Saw thee. I didn't mean to scare you just now. Seeing her panic, he tried hard not to laugh. Her expression was just too funny. Just then, a voice called out, Feng Xin. Hearing that, he poked her, then motioned for Hua Yu to stay quiet. The person who had called for Feng Xin turned out to be the girl who bought flowers that morning. She was still searching for him now. You rotten Feng Xin. Don't think that just because you're hiding and not making a sound, I won't find you. Get out here and explain yourself to me. At that point, Hua Yu also noticed the high school uniform Feng Xin was wearing. What gives you the right to break up with me just because you say so? You jerk. Hearing that, Hua Yu immediately looked at Feng Xin with judgment in her eyes. What's with that look, miss? She whispered. She's looking for you. Aren't you going out? He broke into a bright smile and said, Nope. I've seen that girl before. She even bought a bouquet for me this morning. So what? We've already broken up. It's just that she doesn't seem to think so. Well, then you can only blame yourself for getting too deep into the role. That doesn't sound very right. Can you really treat someone's feelings that casually? He shot back, huh? Excuse me, miss, we don't know each other, do we? What gives you the right to lecture me? I'm not lecturing you. I just don't want to see those flowers wither because of humans being like this. Feeling that the girl had left, he grabbed his school bag and stood up. I'm going. Seeing that, she said in confusion, Wait, you can't go that way right now. She felt a little uneasy. He'll run into him. But Feng Xin ignored her and stepped up the stairs one by one. Worried, she hurried after him and grabbed him, but unexpectedly the two of them fell hard to the ground together. Why do you have to go this way? This is the garden behind the flower shop. Helpless, he said. I just broke up. Did that make you so furious that you actually chased after me? Hua Yu screamed inwardly. I don't want Chi Wu to see me like this right now. How am I supposed to explain this? Please, dear lady, don't blurt out my love life, okay? Just then, footsteps sounded, heading toward the two of them. The moment he looked up and saw who it was, he smiled and said, Chi Wu, good evening. Hello, cousin. After that, the three of them went inside the flower shop together. Chi Wu set a cup of tea down on the table. He looked at the two of them and questioned them. Explain. Why were the two of you together in the back garden at this hour? She hurriedly said, I was just passing by. At a time like this, Feng Xin was still teasing around. I missed you. He didn't bother saying much and only replied briefly, fine. Seeing that, she thought in confusion, fine? That's it. That's enough. Frowning, Feng Xin complained, that's too much. Why did you only pour tea for her and not for me? Irritated, Chi Wu said, if you want some, get it yourself. And another thing, every time you see a girl, it's sis this, sis that. Don't you find that disgusting? Hearing that, he said, the last time you asked me how to become more attractive, it was because of her, wasn't it? As he spoke, he pointed at Hua Yu. Seeing that, Chi Wu looked a little guilty. Chi Wu smacked his little cousin, who loved to act tough and stir things up. Do you still want any tea or not? Sitting beside them, Hua Yu looked utterly confused. What are they talking about? By then, Chi Wu had gone into the kitchen, and outside, Feng Xin laughed and said, and one serving of Miss Hua's cookies too. Do you take me for a waiter? Hee, thanks, cousin. She exclaimed in surprise. Cousin? Seeing that she was startled, he explained his father and my mother are siblings. Surprised? Even though our age gap is pretty big. I see. As Hua Yu sipped her tea, she thought, if they're cousins, then maybe he knows Chi Wu's secret too? While she was spacing out, Feng Xin beside her poked her. About what happened just now, don't tell him, okay? He's your family. You still can't tell him? Afraid she might say something, he immediately clasped his hands together and pleaded, everyone has little secrets, right? Please, please. She nodded. I understand. Come to think of it, it's pretty rare for him to keep an employee around. Hey, let me ask you something. What kind of person do you think he is? Hearing this, her mind instantly leaped to movie scenes. Is this some kind of surprise employee evaluation? I've seen scenes like this before. Say a few words about your boss and your feelings about working here. So she answered seriously, Chi Wu is an extremely outstanding coworker. He's serious, responsible, and very considerate toward new employees, meaning me. Hearing that, he couldn't help bursting into laughter. Ha, I'm not his boss. You don't need to speak so carefully and seriously. Relax a little. Hearing that, Hua Yu felt a bit embarrassed. Okay. Ha. You're really funny. Is it that funny? but I wasn't just saying things. I really do think he's a good person. Then she thought again, that bouquet that was supposed to be given to that girl. He restored it too. I've always seen him taking care of all kinds of flowers. He's very meticulous and very attentive. I feel that someone like that must have a gentle heart. The boy beside her listened intently, then smiled faintly. This is the first time I've heard someone describe him that way. Aren't you afraid of him? Even though his attitude is bad sometimes, he's not scary at all. To put it another way, I still want to know more about him. What I mean is, if I get more used to the work atmosphere, things will be better, right? I'm only doing this for work. Haha, I get it. Since I've asked everything I wanted to ask, the rest is up to you to figure out yourself. It's not easy to meet someone like that. It'd be better to be a little more straightforward. If you know this is someone you can trust, don't miss your chance just because of pride. Although she didn't fully understand, it somehow sounded a little reasonable. Thank you. No need to be polite. At this point, he started flirting again. Come to think of it, you can also take the chance to get to know me too. I'd be more than willing. Just as he said that, Chi-Woo, who was in the kitchen, couldn't stand it anymore and threw a bag of cookies at his head. Carrying tea outside, he threatened. I suddenly realized something. You brat, you definitely skipped your cram class. Be careful, or I'll tell your dad. Spare me. I'm leaving right now. Let me finish the tea first. I shouldn't waste it. Hearing that, he downed the whole cup of tea in one gulp. Then he hurriedly gathered his things and left. She said softly, then I'll go too. Sorry for disturbing you. Inwardly, she said to herself, sorry, phone, excite. I still don't dare say it. He looked over at her and offered, it's late. I'll walk you home. The two of them walked down the road together, but neither said a word. This is so awkward. Should I say something? Maybe being a little tense is better. Suddenly, he spoke and broke the tense silence. Just now. Actually, you saw everything just now, didn't you? That bouquet. The moment she looked at Chi-Woo's face, she panicked and hurriedly darted backward under his baffled gaze. Hiding behind a wall, she didn't dare face him and could only stammer, sorry. Before you get angry, please listen to my explanation first. Then the words poured out in one breath. This afternoon when I saw the flowers wither, I was really confused. I kept thinking about it, but couldn't figure out why. So I could only go out for a walk, thinking maybe some fresh air would clear my head. But I didn't expect it to still be so hot outside. So I bought a sweet peach soda. Then somehow I realized this was the shortcut to the backyard. And my head got hot again, so when I got to the door and heard movement in the yard, I was really just curious. I never expected. It's true, I did see it, but please don't worry. As she spoke, she made a zipping motion over her mouth. I swear, I absolutely won't tell anyone. Seeing that, he couldn't help laughing. I believe you won't tell. I heard everything you said in the shop. She poked her head out and asked blankly then, how exactly did you do that whoosh thing just now? He gently picked up the withered flower on the ground and said, my mother is a little different from ordinary people. Simply put, she can sense the emotions of flowers, and she can also make them bloom more brilliantly. I get it, a flower fairy. I guess you could say that. Why you stared in amazement. Then you're a flower fairy too? Hearing that, he grumbled, don't use that word to describe me. Why not? It's obviously very cute. Chi-Woo turned away to hide his embarrassed expression. I can't accept that. However, I can't do as much as she can. My father is just an ordinary office worker. I only inherited a very small part of her gift. As he spoke, he used his magic on the withered flower. What I can do is only make a flower that has already wilted bloom again for a brief moment. She took the flower, smiled, and said, that's already amazing. Come to think of it, do your other family members know about this? She was referring to Fong Xin. He knows, but he's an exception. Most people don't know. My mother didn't want to bring trouble to them. But this isn't trouble. Because of you, the flowers here are especially beautiful and make people feel warm. So my instincts weren't wrong after all. That's also thanks to my mother. They draw on her power and are protected by her. The shop owner is really amazing. She asked curiously, but that bouquet earlier turned out like that. So, does that mean it's also a side effect of your power? How long flowers from the shop can last depends entirely on the feelings of the person giving them after the buyer takes them out of the shop. If those feelings never change, the flowers can last a very long time. But if they change, the flowers will wither very quickly too. I see. So that's why it wilted so fast. Even for you. You can't keep flowers blooming forever. There's nothing we can do about that. It's a law of nature. What we can do is only take good care of them so they can bloom a little longer and bring a little more beauty to the people who hold them. That's what my mother told me, the meaning of this flower shop's existence. At that moment, she slowly sat down beside him. Cheerfully, she said, I believe that when people receive flowers from here, they'll all feel joy and happiness. I do too. Thank you for being willing to tell me your secret. Early in the morning, birds flitted about, the wind rustled softly, and cicadas chirped noisily. Hawaii was sweeping leaves when she stopped to admire the scenery. Resting her chin on the broom, she sighed. Phew, I unexpectedly found out the truth about the flower shop. She thought, it's so amazing. Who would have thought there was such a lovely secret in this world? She secretly smiled. So Chi-Woo is actually a flower fairy. If he knew, he'd definitely get angry and embarrassed and shout, shut up. She grew thoughtful. It's just that. She remembered what Chi-Woo had said when they were talking. She had asked, then can you tell me now, do you know this flower? He had replied, honestly, it really does look a lot like the potted one in our shop, but I can't be sure either. You said you received it when you were little. I don't know whether it has anything to do with our shop. A lot happened in the past that I don't really want to remember. There are many things I've forgotten. Embarrassed, she answered, it's okay, it's okay. I asked too much. She thought it over. That's true. With an ability like that, he probably went through quite a bit of gossip, and that's why he chose to forget, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't be so sensitive, cautious, and guarded all the time. She remembered the expression on his face then and helplessly commented, but with the way he treats people like he'll never have any friends, right? Then she was helpless with herself too when she realized, it seems like I'm not really in any position to say that to him. But then she was full of spirit again. Pulling her phone from her pocket, she said, but she looked at the chat on her phone and steeled herself. Starting now, I have to change. Not only do I have to study hard, I also have to make lots of friends. Burning with enthusiasm like crashing waves, she resolved, this is my new life goal. While she was looking at her phone, a voice suddenly sounded from behind her and startled her. Oh, a freshman group chat? Not bad, not bad. She turned around in surprise. I was you, phone, Xan? He smiled and replied, did I scare you? Sorry. He looked at her phone and said, on Hue University? Wow, so you go to the same school as A-Woo. Hearing that, she was surprised too. The same school? I didn't know that. He sighed. Of course you wouldn't know if he didn't tell you. That's just how he is. He keeps quiet and never takes the initiative to talk about himself, unless someone gives him a push. She nodded in agreement. Exactly. He continued. He's already in his second year. And aside from me, he still doesn't have a single close friend. She was stunned. Not even one close friend? She smiled to herself and muttered. So it really is just like I thought. Since he didn't hear her, he went, HM? Embarrassed, she said, although this is very rude, I actually did secretly think before that with a personality like his, he probably wouldn't have any friends. He laughed brightly. As for him, because of some things that happened before, he's always shut himself off. He's like a hedgehog. Whenever someone gets close, he pushes them away and drives them off. She replied, if you're always alone, wouldn't you feel lonely? He smiled faintly. How should I put it? He's always been like that, so I guess he's used to it. She asked, confused, can someone really get used to that kind of thing? Then she sighed and complained I couldn't. Something like not having any friends would always make me feel upset. He looked surprised. You're this interesting, and you still don't have any friends? As if he'd hit the nail on the head, she immediately darkened and admitted, she confided, when I was little, because of my parents' job transfers, I was always changing schools. Every time I entered a new environment, everyone else already had their own close-knit friend groups. She said, it seems like the more I care about something, the worse I do at it. I don't know when it started, but whenever I try to build good relationships with the people around me. She reenacted her oddly tense expression. My whole face stiffens up, my body gets rigid, and I end up leaving people with a terrifying first impression. Like this. Before I've even said a few words, they've already backed away from me. Can you even tell I was trying to smile? He said, I was pretty startled the first time I met you too. He asked, so your classmates ended up isolating you? She denied it. Oh no, I don't think so. I don't think they meant any harm. It's my problem. Embarrassed, she brought up the past. Actually, every now and then people would talk to me, but she recalled one of those moments. Why you? The teacher said it's your turn on duty today. But because she got flustered and acted strangely, she replied stiffly, got it. That made the other person wary. Hearing that, Feng Xian asked, so because you didn't have any friends you could share your feelings with, you felt lonely. That's what you mean, right? She nodded. That's right. She sighed gloomily. Because I never had anyone like that. It's been bothering me for a long time. Every time I see groups of people leaving class together, I really envy them. Suddenly, she got embarrassed at how much she'd been complaining. Flustered, she said, sorry for making you listen to all this nonsense. Compared to everything you've been through, what I'm talking about is nothing. I'm really making a mountain out of a molehill. Just forget everything I said. This is so embarrassing in front of Junior. Feng Xian comforted her. Why would you say that about yourself? You're not making a mountain out of a molehill at all. He encouraged her. If you ask me, everyone's troubles matter and shouldn't be compared. You don't need to put yourself down like that. Be a little more confident. Hua Yu widened her eyes in surprise. Feng Xian continued. Besides, you've always been try your best. You just haven't had the right opportunity yet. That's already way better than that A Wu who only knows how to run away. She lowered her head shyly. Oh, he raised both index fingers. Look, you're talking to me very naturally right now. Just like this. He smiled and used his fingers to touch the ends of her eyebrows. Relax here. He encouraged her. You're such a nice person. I'm sure you'll make friends soon. He smiled brightly to reassure her. Don't worry. She blankly touched the center of her forehead. Thank you. A gentle breeze blew flower petals through the air, just like her heart wavering. Amazing. There were only a few simple words. The petals fell onto the lake, like wind sweeping away the duckweed floating on the surface. The clusters around them drifted apart, just like Hua Yu's anxieties. She perked up, and her mood brightened with them. The puddles reflected the blue sky as Hua Yu stepped through them with soft splashes. Today was registration day. She arrived at school radiantly, carrying her books. So this is it. With this refreshed mood and all her hopes for university life, she'd finally stepped through the school gates. Looking at the sea of people, she was stunned. So many people. She looked at the bustling crowd when someone suddenly grabbed the bag in her hand. She turned around. Kiwoo, why are you here too? Isn't today just for freshmen to register? He replied, I just happen to have something to do at school. Feng Xian popped out of nowhere and greeted them cheerfully. What business could he possibly have? Normally, other than class, he's just at the shop. Grinning, he patted Chi Wu on the shoulder. Chi Wu said irritably, you talk too much. She looked at the two of them. Feng Xian immediately bent down and pointed at his forehead while Chi Wu was still struggling. Let go of me. Hua Yu rubbed her forehead with both hands. Feng Xian gave her a thumbs up. Do your best. She waved back with a smile. Chi Wu looked at the two of them in confusion. Behind them, two girls were watching. They whispered, look over there. Are they freshmen? Even their backs look handsome. Chi Wu turned around to look. They cried out, run. Then the two of them hurried away in a panic. It's him. I let my guard down. Hurry, let's go. Hua Yu watched them leave. It really did seem like they were afraid of Chi Wu. He said, come on, let's go register. She replied, Once inside the school, Feng Xian asked, speaking of which, have you decided what club to sign up for yet? She answered, I've thought about it, but I still haven't decided. Then she turned to the person beside her. What about you, Chi Wu? He said calmly, I'm not joining anything. The other two were speechless. He explained, that kind of thing doesn't make any difference whether it exists or not. Feng Xian commented, cousin, being that antisocial isn't good. Suddenly, there was a thud. A girl had fallen, and all her things scattered. Worried, Hua Yu ran over. Are you okay? What happened? The girl said hurriedly, I'm fine. I've been busy all morning and forgot to eat, so my blood sugar dropped, that's all. Oh no, my documents. Chi Wu held out a small cookie. Here, eat this first. She turned to him. Thank you. But then she suddenly froze. She sprang up and backed far away, stepping in front of Hua Yu and startling her too. The girl turned and asked, little sister, why are you with this guy? He's a total pervert. Pointing at him, she warned, don't go near this person. He's really a pervert. Feng Xian curiously asked, what exactly did you do to her? She seems full of resentment. Kiwu replied, no idea. He said, I don't know her. Hearing that, the girl spun around and shouted, what did you just say? Furious, she emphasized every word. You. Don't. No. Me? Feng Xian was entertained. Wow. She's so mad her hair's practically standing up. She exploded, pointing at him and yelling, "How can you say something so cold and heartless? Did you forget the group assignment from last semester? We were in the same group." She reminded him, "I'm your classmate, Xiao Jinling." But it seemed Chi Wu truly didn't remember. She muttered, "Of course. It's only normal that you wouldn't remember me." Then she raised her voice angrily, "Because for the entire semester, you never showed up at all. Why you?" And Feng Xian silently glanced at Chi Wu. Fuming, Xiao Jinling continued, "For the whole semester, I looked for you dozens of times. Either you rejected my friend requests, or you hung up on me. One time when I called, she recalled it. 'Hello, Chi,' and he'd already said, 'No need,' before hanging up. All she could do was shout helplessly, 'Wait, I'm not a telemarketer.' Feng Xin Simbati. Wow, that's awful. How can you treat a girl like that?" She continued helplessly, "I couldn't contact you no matter what, so I had no choice but to accept your emails one-sidedly. Even for the final report, you still didn't come. On presentation day, the professor asked, 'Where's the other member?' I awkwardly said, 'He's not feeling well,' and took leave. 'Sorry, professor. I even covered for you.'" Feng Xian was appalled. "That's terrible. Expose this scumbag." Chi Wu glared at him from behind, but she went on, "And none of that is even the worst part. The most infuriating thing is, this person right here." She irritably pointed at herself. "Got a beautiful, talented, outstanding woman like me, and he doesn't even spare me a glance. Instead, he's always muttering to the flowers around campus with that kind of expression on his face. He's seriously a pervert." Feng Xian and Huayu both responded. "So that's what you actually care about." Huayu whispered, "I think maybe you should pay a little more attention to your behavior." Feng Xian also whispered, "Cousin, I didn't expect you to have this side to you. That's really pretty perverted." Chi Wu snapped, "Both of you shut up." Xiao Jinling suddenly went dizzy. I'm lightheaded." Huayu said, "Even if you probably won't believe me right away, Chi Wu is actually a very gentle person." Xiao Jinling looked confused. "Huh? What nonsense are you talking about?" Huayu held out the cookie from earlier. "Look, this is the cookie he wanted to give you. He made it himself." She urged her, "Your complexion looks really bad. Eat this quickly and fill your stomach first." Xiao Jinling's stomach growled, making her embarrassed and awkward. Huayu smiled gently and offered the cookie. "Come on, it's okay." Chi Wu and Feng Xian watched the two of them. This scene, the two boys imagined. It's like she's coaxing a stray kitten. So cute. Xiao Jinling quickly grabbed the cookie. Still pointing at Chi Wu, she said, "Even if I've accepted the cookie, that doesn't mean I've forgiven you." Annoyed, he replied, "I don't care." She looked at her phone. "Oh no, it's already 11. I'm not wasting any more time on you. I need to hurry to the meeting." He waved her off. Go already." While checking her papers, she realized one was missing. Feng Xian picked it up and read it. Small Animal Protection Society. What a cute club. Even I want to join. He handed the paper back. She asked, "I'm the club president right now, and we're recruiting members. Do you want to come?" He smiled and pointed to the affiliated high school behind him. "Too bad I'm still." Huayu thought, Small Animal Protection Society? What kind of club is that? Feng Xian suddenly said, "But I think Huayu would be perfect for it. She just enrolled and hasn't joined anything yet." She jumped in surprise. "Huh?" Xiao Jinling suggested. Then, "Huayu, do you want to come with me and try out the club activities? Everyone's really friendly, and you'll even get the chance to pet cats." Huayu lit up. "Huh? I can?" Xiao Jinling smiled. "Of course. You're very welcome." Chi Wu glanced at the excited Huayu and turned away. "Go ahead." Huayu asked, "Then what about you?" He replied, "Didn't I say I had something to do at school? I might as well go to work." Xiao Jinling looked at him unhappily. He left. "I'm going," Feng Xian said in surprise. So it wasn't just an excuse. He also said goodbye. "Then I'm off too. Sister Yu, do your best." He caught up to Chi Wu and threw an arm over his shoulder, joking, "You really had that escorting a girl feeling just now." Chi Wu snapped, "Are you itching for a beating again?" Huayu waved goodbye to the two of them, while Xiao Jinling was already in a starting position, ready to run. She turned and called out, "We've got to hurry, Huayu." She replied brightly, "Okay." Chi Wu was sitting by the window corner, working. When he heard the bell on the door ring, he turned around. Huayu hurried in. Sorry, I'm late." As he trimmed a potted plant, he said, "You've been late a lot lately." She tied on her apron. "President Jinling held a gathering today, and I went too. I thought it ended at 6, so sorry." He said, "President Jinling, huh? You two seem pretty close." She gave a small sheepish laugh. She thought that was probably because She remembered walking into the clubroom, where Xiao Jinling called out, "Everyone, I'm back." Everyone came over to greet her and chatted noisily. "The president's here." "Hey, Xiaoling, you've been staying up late again, haven't you? You're pushing yourself too hard. Actually, there are things you could leave to us." "Exactly. Aren't you also looking for sponsorships for the student union and applying for scholarships too? With so much to do, can you really handle it all? You need to take care of yourself." She replied confidently, How could an outstanding girl like me be beaten by something like this? Don't underestimate me." Hiding behind the door, Hua Yu watched in admiration. "Wow, she's amazing." Xiao Jinling turned around and introduced her to everyone. "All right, that's enough. Stop talking about me. I brought a freshman with me today. If I hadn't run into her, I probably would have collapsed on the road." She pushed the flustered Hua Yu to the front. "Huh, it wasn't that serious," Xiao Jinling said excitedly. "Come on, give her a proper welcome." Everyone reacted enthusiastically. "Whoa, the president picked up another one. Her expression is so fun. I kind of want to tease her." "Calm down. Don't let the newcomer think we're some weird club." Xiao Jinling patted Hua Yu on the shoulder and smiled encouragingly. "Don't be shy. There's nothing to be nervous about. Look, everyone is really welcoming you." Hua Yu remembered Feng Xian's encouragement. "Be a little more confident." She swallowed nervously. She gathered her courage and introduced herself. "Ashelu, Senor. I'm Hua Yu, a first-year student in the journalism department." Holding flowers in her arms, she happily recalled how brave she'd been then. That counts as being brave for once, right? Thanks to Sister Jinling's help, I wasn't that nervous. Everyone was so kind. Back then, everyone had warmly welcomed her. "You junior really are cute when you're flustered. If there's anything you don't understand, just ask me." She smiled dreamily to herself, full of excitement. I hope I can get familiar with everyone soon." Standing beside her, Chiwu looked puzzled. He waved a hand in front of her. Hey. He reminded her, "Why are you grinning like an idiot? Don't forget this is work time." She answered, I know. She said, "They said there's someone at our school who's even worse than the rumors. Always causing trouble on campus and giving the homeroom teacher a headache." She continued, "Everyone gave this person the nickname Mad Dog." That's a bit harsh for a nickname. Chiwu kept doing his work, unconcerned. It's just a bunch of noisy people sticking their noses into everything. She puffed out her cheeks. Actually, once you get to know them, they're not like you think. She thought to herself, he doesn't have to wear that grumpy face when dealing with people all the time. Suddenly, her phone rang, and Chi-Woo looked over. She happily checked it. Everyone's messaging in the group chat again. Let's see what they're saying. The scariest rumor at Anhui University. Hey, I like this topic. There's even stuff about the popular faces on campus. Do you want to hear? Then she thought, come to think of it, he's always alone at school. So she invited him. Actually, you could come along too. I think we all. Before she could finish, Chi-Woo refused. Not going. He stepped forward and snatched the phone out of her hand. He checked her phone while she puffed up angrily. She lunged forward to get it back. My phone. Why are you holding my phone? He said, I'll give it back in a minute. She shouted, don't you know it's rude to look at someone else's phone without permission? Angrily, she said, I'm really mad now. Give it back. He said, wait. Because she kept pressing forward, he had to back up until he hit the wall. Things fell everywhere. Why are you getting so worked up over this? He froze. She had pushed him right against the wall, and the two were suddenly so close that he blushed. Hey, that's too close. But she was still determined to get her phone back. Give it back. Chi-Woo pretended to cough to avoid her. Seeing that, she reached out and snatched her phone back. Perfect chance. He was still flustered behind her, while she checked her phone and suddenly widened her eyes. She held up the notification. You have left the group. Angrily, she scolded him. It's not even your phone. What gave you the right to do that? He lied. My finger slipped. She shot back. I don't believe that. You were poking around for half a day. He silently watched her. She was obviously very upset now. He defended himself. So what if you left the group? You could just rejoin. It's not that serious. She snapped back. If people are chatting happily in the group and suddenly see that I left, what do you think they'll think of me? Then her voice dropped sadly. They'll definitely think I'm weird and kill the mood. It wasn't easy for me to finally leave people with a decent impression. Dejected, she crouched down and buried her face in her knees. I just want to make friends. He watched her in silence. Then he said coldly, do you really need to worry that much? You've only known them a few days. Whatever you do, they probably won't care at all. He criticized her. You're just overthinking things. Then he indifferently muttered, and anyway, friends. It doesn't matter whether you have them or not. Right? She couldn't take it anymore and raised her voice. Do you think I'm pathetic for being like this? He faltered. What I mean is, he said coolly, before, I thought we were the same kind of person. But now, I've realized I was wrong. Furious, she stood up and clenched her fists as she accused him. I'm really sick of you always causing trouble for me. That attitude of yours where nobody is good enough for you. You don't care how other people see you, because to you none of it matters. She was so angry she spoke without mercy. But I'm different from you. I care a lot because I don't want people to misunderstand me and see me as some weird misfit. He fell silent. A long pause stretched between them. Her words seemed to stab some hidden part of him. He gave a bitter smile. So that's how you see me too. He dropped into a chair. Yeah, you really are different from me. He said, I don't care what other people guess about me. Indifferently, he added, because I'm not going to waste time playing some childish game like making friends. Finally, he said coldly, no one is worth it. The two of them fell silent. Without looking at him, she took off her apron. She folded it neatly and set on the table. She left in sorrow. Looking at her apron, he clasped his hands and fell into thought. He rubbed his forehead. No, that's not what I wanted to say. Remembering how he had snatched Huayu's phone, he regretted it. Wait, what was I even doing just now? That's not something I'd normally do at all. Thinking of how furious she'd been, he sighed. Damn, what a pain. Hugging a pillow, he thought quietly. So what if she found out those people were talking about me? Why do I even care so much about her? His expression turned gloomy and pensive. He thought about her, then told himself, right, when it comes down to it, she's only a part-timer. She came here to earn some spending money, and she can quit and leave anytime she wants. He buried his face in the pillow and let out an irritated sigh. In the room, Xiao Jinling, who was working, suddenly glanced over at Huayu and thought helplessly, frowning, it's already been 2 days since she came to the shop. Xiao Jinling spoke up and asked, what's been with you these past 2 days? Sighing all the time. Then she smiled brightly and said, I already told you, no one's going to care. Accidentally leaving the group chat is normal. You can just rejoin. Huayu gave a faint hum and thought, actually, that's not the reason. A question mark seemed to pop up in her mind when she heard that, and Xiao Jinling added, if it's something else bothering you, I'm actually pretty good at dealing with that. She closed her eyes and calmly explained, if it were me, first, I'd make a study plan, join professional competitions, and do the teacher's project topics, so you can earn all your credits early. After that, join the student council. There are endless meetings every day, plus activities and tasks. On top of that, you can take on some part-time work to improve yourself. For example, I'm doing translation work right now. I can work late every single day. Even as a sophomore, I can't afford to slack off. I still have to prepare for next year's internship and graduation thesis too. I'm definitely going to graduate with honors. Huayu looked at her in shock and said, Senior, you really are pushing yourself to the limit. Huayu looked at her like she finally understood. Xiao Jinling raised one hand, spread all 5 fingers beside her face, and winked. As long as you keep yourself busy every day, you basically won't have time to feel upset. That's my solution. Why not try it? It works really well. The 2 boys nearby thought, don't drag her into this. Don't drag her into this. Huayu pursed her lips and gave a soft, Xiao Jinling continued. Don't become lazy just because you've only just started school. Stay busy, stay busy. Huayu looked downcast and thought, if it were really that simple, that'd be nice. The gray-haired senior suddenly pointed out the window and shouted, hey, come look, there's a fight downstairs. The pink-haired senior girl ran over and braced both hands against the window. Where? Where? Let me see. The boy panicked and said, hey, don't shove me. Looking at the 2 people by the window, Xiao Jinling turned back to her computer and thought, while you all are busy gawking, I'll read 2 more papers. Leaning out the window and looking into the courtyard, the senior girl said, wait, isn't that? Down in the courtyard, Chi Wu had just kicked someone and then shoved his hands into his pockets. 2 others were helping that person up. From upstairs, the senior girl said, isn't that Chi Wu? The mad dog. Huayu hadn't been paying attention, but the moment she heard his name, she blurted out in alarm, what? She ran to the window and tried to squeeze in for a look. The senior girl beside her suddenly cried out, hey, not understanding. Huayu looked at her and asked, what do you mean by mad dog? The senior girl made a small sound of realization, then explained, oh, you left the group chat then, so you didn't see it. Mad dog means that Chi Wu guy. He raised a hand to his face and rubbed at the wound there. The senior girl continued, he's super famous at school. Suddenly, an angry shout rang out below. You hit way too hard. Chiwu turned his head, then froze in shock when he saw Hua Yu standing at the upstairs window. Their eyes met, and he thought, why is she here? His foot stepped onto a brick. Hua Yu cried out in alarm when he jumped down, and someone shouted, Hey, if you got guts, don't run. The senior boy said, I heard that when he first enrolled, he got into a fight too. He beat someone so badly they were hospitalized for days and couldn't even get out of bed. He was suspended for a while because of it. Who'd have thought he'd be fighting again now? Hua Yu frowned and said, He's avoiding me. The senior continued, so violent. People like that should just be expelled, right? The three people from earlier ran over to where he had jumped down, but all they found was the loose brick. The senior said, I heard that's a shortcut to the old garden, right? If I remember correctly, the last time he caused trouble was there too. Even though the old garden's abandoned, it's not like it's his territory. Why is he acting so high and mighty? I heard he even hangs around in there all the time. What kind of weird behavior is that? Guess he knows no one welcomes him, so he wants to find somewhere to hide. Still, you've got to admit, he picked a pretty good place. The guy in black snapped angrily. Damn it, he got away. The three of us still couldn't beat him alone. Is he some kind of monster? The three of them were still standing by the window. The senior went on. That haunted place is full of creepy energy. It suits him pretty well, like a watchdog guarding the gate. Haha, hearing that, Hua Yu's face fell. Seriously, he's always hanging around places like that. No wonder he probably picked up something dirty. He looks gloomy too, so maybe. The senior girl said, so that's where the Mad Dog nickname came from. The senior boy said, I even heard that someone accidentally bumped into him once. Chi Wu just glared at him, and the guy went home and came down with a fever. The senior girl gave a shiver. That's creepy. Yeah, better stay away from him. Hearing that, Hua Yu remembered his back as he walked away and thought, so this is what things are like for him at school. Back then, she had shouted at him, I don't want people to misunderstand me and see me as some weird outcast. Now, guilt welled up inside her. I actually said something like that to him. She turned to everyone and said, You've misunderstood. Actually, he isn't. She stopped mid-sentence when Xiao Jinling, still seated, took off her glasses and said, You people, are your spreadsheets done yet? Or are you all just going to huddle there gossiping? Hua Yu and the others by the window turned to look at Xiao Jinling. She continued, So this is how you all usually talk about other people? Then when I'm not around, do you also? The senior boy laughed awkwardly. Hey, don't get the wrong idea. It's just that he's kind of special, right? And besides, we know him. How about we talk about him behind his back? She turned back to her computer and kept reading as she said, Right, but you don't know him. You've only heard rumors, and yet you can still say all that. The blonde senior and the gray-haired senior looked at each other awkwardly and said nothing. With her eyes closed, Xiao Jinling said calmly, No matter what, discussing someone behind their back isn't a good thing. I don't want our club to become a place that spreads rumors. The blonde senior rubbed the back of his neck and murmured, The gray-haired senior beside Hua Yu said, She's right. What we said just now really wasn't great. Let's drop it and get back to the spreadsheets. Hua Yu silently thought, Thank you, senior. She returned to her seat and picked up her bag. Xiao Jinling had just adjusted her glasses when she heard Hua Yu say as she walked, Sorry, senior, I have to leave first. I'll send you the spreadsheet tonight. Suddenly, Xiao Jinling grabbed her wrist and said, Wait. That evening, in the old flower garden, Chi Wu was sitting against a wall, rubbing his forehead as he thought, This is so annoying. Why did she have to see that? She probably hates me even more now. He was startled when he heard someone cough behind him. Leaning against the railing, Hua Yu said, So, besides liking to bully people, you also like fighting? He turned around and said, Oh. Chi Wu was alarmed when he saw her climbing over the railing. What are you doing climbing so high? There are nails everywhere here. It's dangerous. Hua Yu, who was climbing down, snapped angrily. Whose fault is it for hiding in some place with no proper entrance? He held out his hand. She looked at him blankly. Avoiding her eyes awkwardly, he kept one hand in his pocket and extended the other. Get down first. Be careful. Sitting on the railing, Hua Yu looked at him for a moment. She gave a soft then reached out and took his hand. Suddenly, the brick beneath her slipped. She screamed in fright. He lunged forward in alarm and caught her. Hey! He held on and didn't let go, leaving Hua Yu pressed against him while he braced himself against the wall. Holding her, he said, I told you to be careful. She lifted her face to look at him and said, I'm sorry. He lowered his head, his bangs shadowing his eyes, and with a flushed face said, No, he held her a little tighter. I should be the one saying it. I'm sorry. Chi-Wu's large hand lightly touched Hua-Yu's small, soft one. Then his eyes widened, as if he had suddenly realized his actions were a little inappropriate. So they quickly let go of each other. Every part of Chi-Wu's face seemed steeped in sadness, and the smudges on his face only made him look strangely pitiful. After a long silence between them, Chi-Wu finally spoke. The one who should apologize is me. Hua-Yu was slightly startled, but he continued, leaving the group chat. That wasn't what I meant. He scratched his head awkwardly and explained, I just didn't want you to see those things people were saying. But I panicked, and instead I only made things worse. Those blue eyes looked so sorrowful, they seemed on the verge of tears. The more he spoke, the more heartbreaking he sounded. You probably hate me even more now. Chi-Wu said softly, It's okay if you don't want to come to the shop anymore. I'll still pay you your full wages for this month. I'm sorry. These sincere words seemed to touch something in Hua-Yu's heart. It showed in her eyes. The silence between them deepened. Neither of them said anything. Chi-Wu's mind was in chaos, and he didn't know what else to say. Hua-Yu suddenly stepped back. Then, without warning, she rammed into him hard, slamming straight into Chi-Wu before he could react. The hit hurt enough to make his whole body tremble. Hua-Yu said, That's payback for snatching my phone. Then she added, If you didn't want me to read those comments, you could have just said so. Chi-Wu only kept looking at her with gentle eyes, saying nothing. Then Hua-Yu said something that left him frozen in place. Hey, did you really think I'd read that stuff and just believe it? Chi-Wu hesitated for a moment, then replied, Don't you care a lot about what they think? Hua-Yu answered calmly, But I care about you too. Chi-Wu could not hide his surprise at those words. He stared at her blankly as she kept talking. We've known each other for a while now. Can't you trust me, your employee, at least a little? Hua-Yu lowered her head slightly and said softly, And trust yourself too. You already told me that unusual secret of yours. So why couldn't you just tell me about something like this properly? It's not like just because they said those things, that means you really are that kind of person. Looking embarrassed, she added, And I hope you won't think everyone is awful and then do something even worse because of it. Chi-Wu stared at her in a daze for a while, then answered softly, I am sorry. Suddenly, Hua-Yu's hand landed on Chi-Wu's cheek with a sharp smack. Startled by her utterly unexpected action, he could only yelp in pain. After that, she anxiously asked, Why did you get into another fight? She thought, Good thing Senior gave me some bandages before I left. Then Hua-Yu gently pressed a bandage over the cut at the corner of his mouth. Through the pure, white jasmine flowers, his voice sounded. That was because, by now, Chi-Wu had begun to open up a little more, and he slowly told Hua-Yu, Those guys treat this place like a dump. Every time they come by, they leave dirt, cigarette butts, and beer bottles everywhere. Even if this place has been abandoned, I still don't want it to become a trash heap like that. I tried stopping them a few times, but it was useless. So after that, whenever they came, I fought them. I wouldn't let them smoke here. Sensing Hua-Yu looking at him, he suddenly stopped and began sweating a little. Chi-Wu unconsciously lifted a hand to his neck. The two of them turned slightly away from each other, both embarrassed, and he awkwardly said, All right, I know fighting isn't okay either. Hua-Yu gave a soft hum. She lowered her head and looked at the pale pink petals drifting down by her feet. At last, she understood everything. Hua-Yu glanced at him and reproached him lightly. You really are the kind of person who makes people misunderstand you so easily. She asked gently, Why couldn't you just say these reasons out loud? If you did, there wouldn't be so many ugly rumors. Chi-Wu started to turn as if to leave and said, Actually, I don't really care about that stuff. As long as they stay away and stop messing up this place, that's enough. Hua-Yu immediately added, But that way won't really solve the problem. Hua-Yu used her own reasoning to persuade Chi-Wu. Wouldn't that just sink you even deeper into the misunderstanding? Are you really okay with that? To strengthen her point, she even cited his own words. You once said the meaning of the flower shop's existence is to bring more beautiful things to other people. Embarrassed, she spoke the thoughts in her heart. It's kind of awkward to say out loud, but I hope that someone like you, who grows these flowers, can receive that same kind of beauty too. Hearing that, Chi-Wu said nothing and only stood there staring at her blankly. Hua-Yu turned fully toward him and continued, Bringing beauty isn't just something to say. Gently, she raised her hand, and he looked at her in surprise. She held 2 index fingers together, then slowly separated them in front of Chi-Woo. Huayu said, "I hope you can open this place up too." She continued, "I hope you can be a little more honest when you're angry and stop shutting people out." Chi-Woo's gloomy, dim expression absorbed every word of her advice. Only when he himself was doing well could he truly bring beauty to these flowers. Suddenly, Chi-Woo crouched down, an action that left Huayu staring at him in confusion. The wind rustled softly as it passed through where they stood. The breeze sent petals fluttering down onto Chi-Woo. As the petals drifted close to his bright red ears, he gave a quiet hum, then gently said, "If doing that would make you happy too, then I'll try." A light breeze swept past, lifting her long hair. Huayu broke into a lovely smile in response to Chi-Woo's words about a future that might finally change for the better. He asked cautiously, then, "Will you still come to the flower shop?" Huayu replied, "When did I ever say I was quitting?" The night sky deepened, and the breeze remained soft and gentle. It stirred the petals into the air, making the scene even more poetic and tender. Chi-Woo still sat there with that lingering, melancholy look on his face. Perhaps his heart was carrying far too many thoughts. Suddenly, he called to Huayu, "Do you want to know why I like this place?" Before she could answer, Chi-Woo gently brushed aside some leaves, creating a soft, rustling sound. Standing before what looked like a hidden doorway, he looked at Huayu and said gently, "Come here." She was still dazed and didn't react at once. A slender hand suddenly closed a black-covered book, and an eager voice rang out. And then what happened? What happened next? The voice belonged to a little girl with a cute round face and sparkling eyes, her chin propped up in both hands as she listened intently. The person sitting opposite her said, "After that, once the people left, the plants became the masters of this place." The scene shifted back to Huayu and Chi-Woo as they walked together along a narrow path. He carefully shielded her so she wouldn't brush against the overgrown branches jutting out around them. A frog below them noticed approaching footsteps and immediately hopped away. The voice of the person telling the story to the little girl sounded again. "Sometimes a few small animals come here as guests too." This place became a quiet little patch of green, forgotten among the buildings. The little girl exclaimed with innocent delight, "Wow, that's wonderful." Still under Chi-Woo's careful protection, Huayu calmly walked inside. After passing through the narrow entrance, they stopped before a scene so poetic it almost seemed unreal. Flowers of every kind, in their brightest colors, blooming in full splendor. They looked like stars glittering across the Milky Way. To anyone who loved flowers, this place was like paradise. There was even a statue here, one of a small child curled up with eyes closed and a smile on its face. The child had 2 wings on its back, perhaps a little angel. Chi-Woo's gaze stayed fixed on Huayu without wavering. It was Huayu's first time seeing such a sight, and she was thrilled. She happily ran into the sea of colorful blossoms, immersing herself in it. Her delight overflowed in her words. "Wow, there's so many flowers. This is amazing." She bent down to look at a vivid blossom below and asked, "What's this?" Chi-Woo immediately answered, "That's primrose. Over there is snow lotus. And that's narcissus, bellflower, geranium, pansy, hydrangea, and baby's breath." Huayu asked curiously, "Did you grow all of them?" The answer she got from Chi-Woo was no. He corrected her gently, "I only take care of them a little. They were here long before I was." Huayu looked like she didn't quite understand what he meant. Chi-Woo began to explain. This used to be the flower garden of the old campus, and it was also where the gardening club stayed. But later, as fewer and fewer members remained, the club disbanded. By the time I found this place, it had already been abandoned. With a faint sadness in his eyes as he looked at the fresh, blooming flowers, he added, "Even so, even with no one here, they stayed." Huayu started walking around, exploring this floral paradise. She even turned back to smile at Chi-Woo and said, "So they're the real masters here, and you're the caretaker." What she said really wasn't wrong. Chi-Woo smiled faintly and replied, "You could say that." Then Huayu continued walking ahead. Her attention was drawn to the climbing plants covering the arch overhead. Not knowing what they were, she asked Chi-Woo, and he answered, "That's osmanthus." Hearing that, Huayu studied it even more closely. She gently leaned in and sniffed the fragrance of the flowers. Then she asked in confusion, "No scent?" "Chi-Woo, why are you spacing out like that?" Disappointed, Huayu lightly flicked the leaves one by one. Just then, Chi-Wu slowly walked over and stopped right behind her. He asked if she wanted to see. While Huayu was still dazedly turning around, her lips parting as she said, "I." Chi-Wu had already placed both hands on a nearby branch. Huayu watched intently, waiting for a miracle from those magical hands. Cradled within those long, slender hands was a faint pink glow. The light fell across the young girl's face, making her adorable bewilderment even more obvious. The glow in his palms grew brighter and larger. Chi-Wu calmly kept his hands where they were. Only a second later, a miracle happened. Bright yellow blossoms began blooming one after another in the stillness of the night. Startled, Huayu widened her eyes and cried out, "Wow, so cute." Chi-Wu suddenly asked her to lift her head, and Huayu obeyed almost reflexively. The darkness surrounding them was no longer a deep black night, but seemed to have been replaced by countless osmanthus flowers in full bloom. Huayu instinctively covered her mouth, her astonishment at the miracle before her written plainly on her face. Her eyes were filled with fascination as she looked around, unable to help sighing. "It's so beautiful. Like a dream. Even though I know you have powers like this, seeing something like this in person is still shocking." "It's so beautiful," Chi-Wu replied. "I haven't seen a scene like this in a long time either." Huayu giggled softly after hearing that. "Then I guess I'm really lucky." Chi-Wu's gaze, which had been resting on the golden flowers, gradually shifted to Huayu. She, meanwhile, had no idea, still immersed in the blooming flowers around her. She was quietly savoring the gentle, faintly sweet fragrance. Chi-Wu's blue eyes remained fixed on her, and his heart began pounding uncontrollably. The flowers climbing over the baby statue bloomed even more, their bright golden petals sparkling as if illuminating the budding feelings between the two young people. Smiling brightly, Huayu said, "Thank you for sharing this with me, Mr. Gardner. I'll never forget such a beautiful sight for the rest of my life." Chi-Wu, startled as if afraid she had caught him staring, quickly turned away and murmured, "It's good that you liked it." His mind had already gone blank. At some point his cheeks had turned red, and his heart still pounded wildly with no sign of stopping. Perhaps in that moment, he had already fallen for her. After their meeting that night, Chi-Wu escorted Huayu all the way home. Standing beneath the stairs leading up to her place, she said, "This is far enough. Thank you for specially walking me back." In response, he only gave a faint, Huayu suddenly grew flustered, her cheeks slowly flushing red. Shyly, her lips moved. Chi-Wu stared at her blankly, waiting for her to finish. But Huayu felt too embarrassed and still couldn't say what she wanted. All she could do was smile and wave goodbye. "Then I'll head up first. Bye-bye." Chi-Wu immediately replied, "Okay." Huayu had only taken a few steps when Chi-Wu called out, "Right." When she turned back, he asked, "What time do you go to class tomorrow?" Caught off guard by the question, Huayu was mildly stunned and wondered what he meant. Chi-Wu became increasingly awkward, glancing away to avoid her eyes before continuing, "Class. I mean, tomorrow morning I have class." He raised a hand to the back of his neck, visibly flustered, and carefully said, "What I mean is, if you happen to also..." Chi-Wu fell silent, anxiously waiting for her answer. Huayu wasn't any calmer. Her lips pressed together tightly, and her face had turned red before she knew it. Luckily, she managed to speak in the end. "8 a.m. tomorrow." Chi-Wu looked at her gently, then waved and said, "Okay, then I'll see you tomorrow morning." Just then, Huayu suddenly grabbed Chi-Wu's sleeve and hurriedly said, "Wait." Feeling her stop him, he paused and turned back slightly. Embarrassed, Huayu clutched her phone tightly and said, "I've actually wanted to say this for a while. It seems like we still haven't." As she spoke, she held up her phone screen. On it was a friend request, the avatar showing her gentle face with a clear message, "I'm Huayu." At that moment, Chi-Wu still wore an unreadable expression as he looked at her without saying a word. It had long been late at night, and the apartment buildings were already lit up. At Chi-Wu's home, a tidy and well-organized place, he had just finished showering and was drying his wet hair with a towel. His movements suddenly stopped, his eyes focusing on something. Then Chi-Wu picked up his phone. On the screen was the chat between him and Huayu. It turned out she had just sent a very cheerful-looking sticker. He replied with a row of dots, as if expressing his confusion. Chi-Wu stared at the phone screen for a while, his gaze tinged with melancholy. Meanwhile, Huayu smiled as she stared at the phone in her hand. They had finally added each other. Back to Chi Wu. Exhausted, he leaned against the headboard, tilted his face toward the ceiling, and shut his eyes tightly. Slowly opening those captivating eyes, he frowned faintly, his thoughts in turmoil. Why was he suddenly remembering that? Memories from long ago came rushing back into his mind, returning him to the time when Chi Wu was still attending Huoming Elementary School. The schoolyard was lively, children laughing and shouting noisily. "Ha! Now it's your turn to be it. Everybody run. Don't run. I already tagged you. Someone climbed the tree. That's cheating." In contrast to his classmates' carefree play, the Chi Wu of those days just stood there motionless, not joining the games or running around. He simply stood there watching the other children laugh and talk. "Ha! Who threw a bug on me? You boys are so annoying. I want to tell the teacher, boo-hoo." Behind where Chi Wu was standing, a few adults were gossiping. "That boy Chi Wu looks pretty cute, but none of the kids want to play with him. Normal little boys all like to run around outside, but this one is shy and timid, always playing by himself by the flower bed. He doesn't act like a boy should at all, not sociable in the slightest." In response to that harshly critical remark, another person said, "Ms. Zhu, that's not right. Why can a little boy be like that? Besides, none of this is urgent. We don't need to worry too much. Kids are innocent. They make friends quickly." Hearing that, she only smiled and immediately changed the subject. "Right? By the way, want to go for a walk together after work?" The other person agreed. At that moment, Chi Wu quietly used his power to conjure a fresh blossom. Suddenly, a loud shout rang out behind him, startling Chi Wu so badly that he spun around. A boy in a yellow jacket named Xiao Bai had witnessed the miracle he had just created and was utterly shocked. Pointing at Chi Wu, he hurriedly asked, "What did you just do?" Being discovered made Chi Wu anxious. He hid the flower behind his back and stammered, "No, Before he could explain, Xiao Bai quickly snatched a flower from a nearby flower bed. Chi Wu could only look at it with sad, regretful eyes. Holding the stem in his hand, Xiao Bai waved it wildly up and down. Then he excitedly held out his palm toward Chi Wu and made a request. "Hey, do it again." Chi Wu's face turned pale, and the shock and anxiety in his eyes were obvious. Perhaps he was stunned by what he saw in the boy's hand. The flower, which should have been cherished and cared for, had already been crushed in many places, with only a few petals left. The flower lay wilted in Xiao Bai's palm, but the boy still eagerly pleaded, "Do it again." Looking at the flower, Chi Wu wore an awkward expression, hesitating over whether he should restore it one more time. After staring at the flower, he raised his eyes to look at the boy. Xiao Bai was brimming with anticipation, smiling brightly as he waited for Chi Wu to create another miracle, full of admiration. Behind Xiao Bai was a group of boys holding a ball, quickly urging their friends on. "Come on, let's go." Chi Wu watched them with eyes full of envy. Then he decided to place both his hands over Xiao Bai's palm that held the flower. A golden light slowly brightened, spilling across the boy's face along with a loud gasp. The louder the gasps grew, the stronger the light became as it shone onto the elementary school boy's face. The flower that had seemed about to die came back to life and even bloomed again. Excited, Xiao Bai tossed the flower up and exclaimed joyfully, "This is amazing. So awesome. I can't believe there's actually someone beside me who knows magic. I've only ever seen this kind of thing on TV before." Chi Wu calmly explained, "This isn't magic." Xiao Bai curiously asked again, "Besides this, what else can you do?" In reply, Chi Wu only gave a cold, distant, "I don't know." At that very moment, Xiao Bai made another suggestion. "And can I play with you? I want a friend who's different." Chi Wu thought for a moment, then agreed. Hearing that, Xiao Bai immediately threw an arm around his shoulders as if they were close friends. Taking the chance, Chi Wu reminded him, "But this is my secret. Don't tell anyone else." Xiao Bai laughed and answered, "Okay, come with me. There are a few more friends in our class. Let's all play together." Only then did Xiao Bai ask the new boy's name. "Right, what's your name? What grade? What class?" Being a man of few words, he answered briefly, "Chi Wu, 4th grade, class 3. Xiao Bai laughed and said, "I'm 4th grade too, class 1. Everyone calls me Xiao Bai." He led Chi Wu into a room where 3 boys were sitting inside, one holding a phone and another eating snacks. Xiao Bai's voice rang out, "Hey everyone, I brought a new friend." He quickly introduced him. "His name is Chi Wu, class 3. Listen, he knows magic." Hearing that, Chi Wu was startled and softly reproached him. "Hey, didn't I tell you not to tell anyone else?" Xiaobai answered carelessly, "It's fine. They're all friends." One of the boys asked curiously, "That magic you mentioned, are you serious or joking?" Xiaobai replied with confidence, "Of course it's real. Watch." As he spoke, he quickly ran over to the 3 potted plants by the window. Cheerfully, Xiaobai plucked a flower, making Chi Wu freeze in place as if he wanted to run away immediately. Unaware of that, Xiaobai ran back and happily urged, "Come on, perform. It's only 1 flower anyway. If you restore it, the teacher won't notice, and they'll definitely think you're awesome." Seeing this, the other 3 boys also stared at Chi Wu curiously. One said, "Revival magic? I want to see." Another urged, "Come on, do a little performance." Another said, "I want to learn magic too. Can I study with you in the future?" Chi Wu was extremely uneasy, but the others kept chattering enthusiastically. Yeah, that's right. Can you make potato chips float in the air? I have some." One boy even invited him to play a game he had just downloaded. Another asked, after school, should we take him to our base? But another said, "I can't go today. My mom's picking me up to take me to calligraphy class." Hearing that, the first boy replied, "What? If you don't come now, we won't play with you anymore." Frightened, that boy said, "Then I'll tell my mom to come pick me up later." Chi Wu lowered his head slightly. He truly didn't want to do this kind of thing anymore. In the end, all he could do was say sorry. As time passed, Chi Wu gradually blended into that group. Whenever there was something fun, they would call for him, and they played games together. They ate snacks together while watching an iPad, and later went out together for healthy and wholesome fun. One early morning, Chi Wu said goodbye to his parents and left. As his mother, she could sense the change in her son, and happily said, "Oh my, he finally has friends." Chi Wu's father chimed in, "That kid has been a lot more cheerful lately." Holding a bright red flower in her hand, Chi Wu's mother smiled gently. "That's wonderful. Children's friendships really are so innocent and lovely." Xiaobai brought Chi Wu to meet a group of older boys. One was holding a soccer ball, so they were probably about to go play soccer. One of the older boys asked, "Who's that guy you mentioned last time?" Xiaobai immediately said, "Chi Wu. He says he knows amazing magic." Chi Wu's face darkened in displeasure as Xiaobai made another request. "Show them, like before. Everyone wants to see." The whole group gathered around to watch Chi Wu's performance. But when he finished, their faces immediately fell in disappointment. Xiaobai didn't notice and still said confidently, "See, I didn't lie to you, right? Isn't he cool?" Not only did the older boys not praise him, they even mocked him. "Haha, that's it. We thought you dragged us over here for something impressive, and it turns out it's just making a flower appear." Xiaobai was just about to explain when one of the older boys said, "He tricked you guys. I've seen secrets behind tricks like this online before. Figures kids your age would believe it. So all that stuff before was just you bragging? This isn't impressive at all." The boy in red said, "We're not playing with some flower-fiddling sissy like a girl. If you want to play with us, come kick the ball instead." Chi Wu became numb and indifferent in the face of their mocking words. After saying their fill, the older boys left, leaving just the 2 of them behind. Xiaobai laughed and patted Chi Wu on the back to comfort him. "It's fine. You're my buddy. I'll still believe you." He turned slightly and replied, "I'm Fina. Thanks." But deep inside, what he really wanted to say was, "I just don't want to keep doing this kind of thing anymore." The scene shifted to Chi Wu's 10th birthday. Wearing a party hat, he sat in front of his birthday cake and listened to the birthday wishes. Chi Wu's mother smiled gently, cradling something in her hand. When she opened her palm, a small pouch appeared inside, containing a tiny seed. That was Chi Wu's birthday present. He gaped in surprise, then excitedly tossed the gift up and said happily, "I wanted this for so long. Mom finally agreed to let me plant it." "Thank you, Mom." She gently said, "This is a seed I cultivated myself. It's different from ordinary ones. Growing it won't be easy. Only if your heart is full of love and respect will it sprout and bloom. So do your best." At that moment, Chi Wu picked up a carton of milk and drained it in one gulp. Then he filled it with soil and planted the seed. Holding it in his hands, Chi Wu was overjoyed. He declared, "I'll definitely protect it carefully." His young heart was full of anticipation for what it would look like when it finally bloomed. A girl's voice suddenly sounded from behind Chi Wu. "Ah, it's him, the boy who can make flowers appear." The voice drew his attention, and he looked toward it. A girl was walking toward him with another girl beside her. The one in front looked at him and boldly asked, "Can you perform a little?" The thing everyone was talking about. The girl beside her later chimed in, I really want to see it. He felt a little awkward and hesitantly said, no, I. Before he could finish, Xiao Bai rushed over and stepped in front of him. Then, to Chi Wu's great surprise, Xiao Bai confidently rubbed his thumb under his nose and cut in. No can do, no can do. Chi Wu is my buddy. If you want to see him perform, you have to get my permission first. The leading girl immediately asked in surprise, huh? Why? Xiao Bai turned back, gave Chi Wu a thumbs up, and said in a commanding tone, Chi Wu do one. Hearing that, Chi Wu only stayed silent, his face full of difficulty and discomfort. He lifted his foot. Then, to everyone's shock, he ran off. Xiao Bai stared after him and blurted out in surprise, huh? His figure ran farther and farther away, leaving behind only the girls' mocking laughter. Ha ha, he's totally ignoring you. The school bell rang, followed by a burst of cheerful student voices. School's over. Goodbye, teacher. Wow, flowers. It's snowing outside. Amid the lively joy of dismissal, Chi Wu walked quietly alone through the falling snow. Then a voice called out by his ear, hey. Hearing it, he turned around. It was Xiao Bai chasing after him from behind. In a loud voice, Xiao Bai said, this morning, you ran off right in front of everyone. That made me look really bad. Chi Wu looked at him with a troubled expression, wanting to speak but stopping himself. In the end, he had no choice but to say, could you stop making me do that kind of thing? Xiao Bai froze, confused. Huh? Why are you suddenly saying that? After a pause, he continued, why not? Then he crossed his arms arrogantly and said loudly, but it makes you more popular too, doesn't it? What's so embarrassing about that? The two boys following behind him chimed in one after another. He even brings you up a lot in front of other people. Yeah, and it was thanks to Xiao Bai that we started playing with you in the first place. Hearing his classmates say that, Xiao Bai looked extremely pleased with himself. Chi Wu, on the other hand, only grew sadder and more uncomfortable. Lowering his head, he asked in disappointment, Xiao Bai, do you really think of me as a friend? Hearing that, Xiao Bai looked at him in surprise and asked, what do you mean? Chi Wu gripped the strap of his school bag tightly, silently staring at him. Then he turned and walked away, with no intention of answering at all. Xiao Bai watched his retreating back and called after him, hey, why are you leaving without saying anything? While he was still staring after him in surprise, the teacher suddenly opened the window and shouted loudly, who pulled out all the flowers in the classroom. If I find out who did it, I'll be severely criticizing them. He chased after Chi Wu, then suddenly grabbed the strap of his school bag and yanked him back from behind. The pull made Chi Wu stop. When he turned around, Xiao Bai hurriedly asked, didn't you already turn back to normal? Then why is the one in the classroom still dead? Even after hearing that, Chi Wu's gaze remained calm. Seeing that Chi Wu didn't answer at all, Xiao Bai pressed on, why aren't you saying anything? Are you really like those 6th grade boys said? Chi Wu still didn't reply, only saying irritably, don't pull my school bag. Right then, the milk carton holding the sprout suddenly dropped to the ground with a thud. The soil inside spilled out, and the little sprout tilted over with it. Chi Wu stared in shock at the plant box lying helplessly on the ground. Before he could even react, Xiao Bai lifted his foot and stomped on it. The crunching sound of his heel hitting the paper carton rang out. Then Xiao Bai shouted at him as if giving an order, perfect, prove it again. Hurry and turn it back. If the teacher catches us, we're done for. Before he could even finish speaking, Chi Wu's fist had already swung out and slammed straight into the side of his face. A loud smack followed, making Xiao Bai's whole body reel. He fell to the ground just as the last word of his sentence came out. The classmates walking behind them saw Chi Wu knock him down and all cried out in fear, ah! The dull thuds of fists hitting flesh rang out over and over. Xiao Bai instinctively raised his arms to shield his face, trying to dodge. The surrounding classmates hurried over to stop him. What are you doing? Stop, that really hurts. But Chi Wu seemed not to hear any of them. He clenched his teeth and kept throwing punch after punch. The voices trying to stop him kept rising around them. I'm telling my mom, hey, it was just one little sprout. There's no need to fight. The two boys who had been following Xiao Bai earlier saw that Chi Wu had no intention of stopping and said, can't you just turn it back again? Another added, it'd be a good chance to prove you weren't lying. More voices sounded from behind them. Stop already. Don't hit him anymore. But none of the attempts to persuade him worked. He pinned Xiao Bai to the ground and kept punching through the chorus of people trying to stop him. Xiao Bai was trapped beneath him, squeezing his eyes shut in terror. The classmates desperately tried to think of a way to pull them apart. One of them said, "What do we do? We can't pull him off at all." Another suggested, "Quick, go get the teacher." Just then, the teacher appeared. Seeing two students fighting, she shouted to stop them. "Both of you stop. What are you doing fighting?" Only then did Chi Wu stop, though his other hand was still gripping Xiao Bai's collar tightly. When Xiao Bai realized he wasn't being hit anymore, he slowly cracked one eye open. Then he stared up at Chi Wu in shock, both eyes widening. Chi Wu's fist was frozen in midair, while tears streamed all over his face. Outside the school building, white snowflakes kept drifting down. Inside the principal's office, an angry voice rang out. "My son's been beaten into this state. How are you going to take responsibility?" Chi Wu and Xiao Bai both stood silently off to the side, listening. The voice continued. "He has an event in a few days. With his face injured like this, how is he supposed to take part?" Right after that, a calm voice cut through the anger. "Parent of student Xiao Bai, please calm down a little," said the principal. Chi Wu looked in surprise toward the calm voice. It was his mother. She said seriously, "Ma'am, we will cover all treatment expenses. But we need to make one thing clear first. Your son started this." Hearing his mother say that, Chi Wu gently tugged at her sleeve. When she turned to look at him, he gave a small shake of his head, his hand still clutching her clothes tightly. Seeing the sorrow on her son's face, she understood at once and fell silent as she looked at him. Outside the principal's office, evening had begun to fall. A voice said, "Thank you for your trouble. Teachers, we'll be going now." Xiao Bai left with his mother, and Chi Wu left with his. The two sides separated and walked off in opposite directions. Chi Wu looked awful, his eyes fixed on the ground. Sadly, he turned his head to look in the direction Xiao Bai and his mother had gone. They had not gone far when the woman's annoyed scolding could still be heard. "The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Beating someone up over a blade of grass. What a lunatic." After a pause, she warned him again, "Xiao Bai, from now on, stay away from that kind of person. Don't pick up bad habits, got it?" He gave a quiet The two mothers and sons walked in opposite directions. The evening sunlight shone through the large glass windows, seeming to form a dividing line between them. Even then, Chi Wu still had his head turned, looking toward the direction Xiao Bai and his mother were leaving. As it gradually grew dark, Chi Wu walked shoulder to shoulder with his mother along the road, and her eyes were full of worry. Chi Wu still held tightly to the withered plant box in his hands. His eyes were full of sadness. He didn't look directly at his mother, only at the plant in his hands, as he softly said two words, "I'm sorry." Hearing that, his mother looked at him with concern and tenderness on her face. Then she slowly crouched down to his level. She gently wiped the dirt from his cheek and said lovingly, "This isn't your fault." She reached out and softly rubbed his head, and his eyes only grew sadder, tears on the verge of falling. Seeing that, she continued, "Go ahead and cry if you want. After that, we won't think about him anymore, okay?" Hearing his mother say that, Chi Wu opened his eyes wide in surprise. In the next instant, tears came pouring out. He covered his face with his sleeve and bit down hard, trying to hold back the sound of his crying. But in the end, he couldn't hold it back anymore. He burst into sobs in his mother's warm embrace. Crying, he blamed himself. "It's all my fault. I didn't protect it well. I also did a lot of things wrong. From the very beginning, I never should have played with him. Then none of this would have happened." His mother only looked at him silently, her eyes full of understanding. Then she said, "Here." She opened her palm in front of him. Resting there was a seed. Looking at him again, she asked softly, "Shall we plant it again?" "Okay." Hearing that, he stopped crying and looked at the seed in her hand. He reached out and took it, then stared intently at the tiny seed resting in his palm. He thought, "But I already poured all my heart into that seed. I don't have the heart to plant a second one anymore." Then he clenched the seed tightly in his hand and said, "He was my first friend, but I don't want to make friends anymore." Seeing how sad he was, his mother gently advised him, "Someone who cherishes the things you love, that's your true friend." She stood up and continued, "So don't give up. Not every flower grows smoothly. Just think of him as a worm on a leaf. She smiled gently and comforted him. But in the future, you will definitely meet a friend who wants to understand you, who won't harm your flowers, who respects your secrets, who is willing to stay by your side and help you tend the flowers in your garden. That will be your true friend. Chi Wu looked up at her, as if wanting to confirm whether her words were really true. He lowered his head and silently looked at the paper flower box in his hands. A string of memories related to Xiao surfaced along with that flower box, flashing through his mind like slow-motion film clips. He thought, a true friend, but to me, that's no longer something worth hoping for. I hate those people. I'd rather be alone forever. I never want to make the same mistake again. And so he grew up that way, through elementary school, middle school, and high school as well, always with that same lonely back. Back in the present, he remembered what Hua Yu had said to him. But I hope that someone who grows flowers like you can also have something just as wonderful. At that time, when he turned around, he saw petals drifting all through the air in the soft breeze. She stood beneath that shower of blossoms, smiling, her hair and dress fluttering lightly, gentle and beautiful beyond words. He remembered his mother's advice, so don't give up. His eyes slowly cleared. His mother's words still echoed in his mind. In the future, you will meet. He hugged a pillow as he slept in bed, his breathing steady and soft. The next morning, daylight had fully broken. The sky was clear blue, and doves could be heard cooing. At Chi Wu's house, his mother was hurrying up the stairs. She opened his bedroom door, looking worried. Early in the morning, and you're not going to school. What are you doing in your room? But when she saw the room clearly, she froze a little. Chi Wu's room was a complete mess. Books, supplies, and cardboard boxes had all been dragged out. Did a thief break into your room? Chi Wu didn't turn around to look at his mother. He was still focused on searching for something. Mom, do you remember where the seed you gave me before was? How would I remember that? Weren't you the one keeping it? Oh dear, you've thrown everything everywhere. There's not even room to walk. She walked over to him. If you don't put things away properly, of course you won't be able to find them now. You're really strange. Why did you suddenly think of it? Never mind, Mom. She sniffed the air for a moment, catching the scent of flowers. You're in a pretty good mood today, huh? You're giving off a floral scent already. He turned around, a little displeased. He stood up and slung his bag over his shoulder. Forget it. I'm not looking anymore. I'll clean up when I get back. He left his mother behind, still staring at him curiously. Oh, how strange. Chi Wu went downstairs to the kitchen, where he found his father cooking. Morning, Chi Wu. Morning, Dad. His father said to him, I remember when you were little, there was this one time you lost a bag of seeds, and your mother gave you a really harsh scolding. Maybe you lost it for good back then. And then maybe, as he nibbled on a piece of bread, Chi Wu thought, someone clearly stole it that time. I still don't get how I ended up taking the blame. He opened the door to leave. I'm off. Finish your porridge before you go. I can't. I'll be late. At the same time, Hua Yu was also rushing down the stairs. I'm going to be late. As soon as I turn off the alarm, I really have to get up right away. Getting up early for an 8 o'clock class is way too hard. Wha? Suddenly, her head bumped into a young man. Oof. She looked up, saw the person she had run into was Chi Wu. He reminded her, that's the second time. Don't you ever watch where you're going? You deliberately blocked my way. I thought you'd already gone to school by yourself. He handed her a bag. Take it. She opened it. Inside were milk and bread. I knew you'd oversleep. I figured you probably haven't had breakfast either. Thanks. How much was it? I'll transfer it to you. No need. Consider it an employee benefit. He pointed at the row of public bikes nearby. Let's go. If we ride, we should make it in time. Okay. So the two of them rode bicycles to school together. Hua Yu said, by the way, why did you insist on going with me today? Are you always this blunt? What? Is there a problem? Nothing. It's good. I think I can smell flowers. In the end, the two of them made it to school on time. They walked through campus while Hua Yu took the chance to quickly eat the bread Chi Wu had bought for her. You don't have to eat that fast. But in his mind, he was already comparing her to a squirrel nibbling on a pine nut. She really did look like one. A group of students noticed the two of them. One of them was Qiao Jinling, who waved at Hua Yu. Hua Yu, good morning. Hua Yu enthusiastically waved back. Good morning, senior. Morning, everyone. Then she suddenly stiffened when she remembered Chi Wu was standing right beside her. I just realized this guy is here. With so many people in front of him, won't he feel super awkward? But contrary to her worries, Chi Wu cleared his throat. Ahem. He lowered his head to the group. Morning. The whole scene seemed to freeze. It took a few seconds for everyone to recover, stunned speechless by his greeting. In morning, only then did Chi Wu start to feel embarrassed, a faint flush rising on his face. What kind of reaction is that? Didn't I already warn you? Warn us. Hua Yu remembered what he had once said to her. She covered her mouth with her hand, then burst out laughing. Ha ha! Beside her, Chi Wu felt even more awkward. Don't laugh. I'm starting to regret it. Meanwhile, one of the girls in the group still couldn't believe what had just happened. She said to the friend beside her, "What's going on? That guy actually took the initiative to greet us. He's acting strange all of a sudden. Something's definitely up. This is bad, this is bad. Don't tell me it's some kind of warning before he beats us up, like a ritual before a wrestling match. Maybe we should just run for it." Hua Yu said to them from the side, come on, you guys are being way too dramatic. Isn't this just a normal, everyday greeting? If we don't respond properly, that'll make us look really rude. Everyone thought she had a point and looked at each other. Then, they happily replied to Chi Wu. Morning. He looked a little less embarrassed too. Morning. The group of friends walked off. We're heading to Area 18 now, bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you at the club this afternoon. Once they were farther away, Hua Yu turned to ask him, "So you wanted to come with me because of this? Did I really need to spell it out?" Over with Xiao Jinling's group, they were discussing what had just happened. Somehow, this Chi Wu guy doesn't seem as scary as the rumors say. I don't know why, but he suddenly seems kind of handsome. Hey, don't tell me you fell for him just because he said hello. You boy crazy idiot. Wow, you guys switch sides fast. We admit it, we're fence sitters, hee. Speaking of which, Xiaoling, it feels like you've always had the same attitude toward him. You never gossip about him or comment on him. Huh? Why is that? There's a reason. Xiao Jinling thought. Now that I think about it, that really is true. Why is that? The wind rustled softly, making the branches by Chi Wu's flower shop sway as well. Inside the flower shop, business was going quite smoothly. That's 36 yuan in total. Please scan here. Okay. A female customer flirted enthusiastically with Chi Wu. Here you go. The flowers are so beautiful. Thank you. Handsome. Would you mind adding me? Sure. Here's the shop's WeChat. Okay. Actually, I make your personal account. Hua Yu looked over at Chi Wu. Ever since deciding that he needed to change, he had become much more composed, and more people had started coming to buy flowers. At that moment, Chi Wu was introducing flowers to a customer. Excuse me, what kind of flower is this? This is a bellflower. It does well in bright light. Seeing his positive changes made Hua Yu smile softly. She had also become more proactive about her current work. Come to think of it, all of this is thanks to that message from Feng Xin. Learning from how he comforts people, I feel like I've improved quite a bit too. Then she said to a customer, "We're having a succulent promotion right now. These kind can be arranged together, and it's very cost-effective." Oh, thank you. I'll look around a bit more then. Outside the shop, Feng Xin appeared, carrying both a backpack and a bag. He waved. Hi, long time no see. Your expression is still as funny as ever. Haha, Hua Yu was surprised to see him. Fen Xin. Chi Wu also poked his head out to look. Feng Xin said, "My mom went on another business trip, so I've got no one to feed me again. She should at least give me some money though. I want to save up for a PS5. Chi Wu turned back into the shop. Gomein, sleep in the usual room. Okay, where are Uncle and Auntie? They went to see a movie. Ooh, Hua Yu still didn't understand what was going on. What exactly is happening? Feng Xin stood at the foot of the stairs. His head slightly lowered, his face a bit downcast. I wonder how long my mom will be away on this trip. Chi Wu replied. She called our house already. Probably about a week. She also told me that since you're about to take the college entrance exam, the pressure must be huge, so I should make sure you drink plenty of milk. Hearing that, Feng Xin lifted his head, looking a little less upset. Mom's so busy with work, and she still worries about me. Chi Wu had clearly been paying attention to how he was doing. He reminded him, if you skipped fewer of your prep classes, she'd be a lot less worried. Feng Xin smiled from behind him. Once you've put your things away, go do your homework first. But I want to stay downstairs with Sister Hua Yu. TCH. A crashing sound suddenly rang out in the shop as a flower pot fell from a shelf. A A female customer said awkwardly, sorry, I didn't notice my bag knocked over the flower pot. How much is it? We'll pay for it. At that moment, Fong Xin put his strengths to use. He gently steadied the customer's hand. It's okay. Not considering whether the display arrangement might block the walkway is also our shop's responsibility. I'll clean it up. It would be bad if you cut your hand, miss. Please feel free to keep browsing. The female customer was so touched that she blushed all over. Okay, thank you. Wow, is he the shop assistant's younger brother? I suddenly want to buy him a bouquet. Meanwhile, the two socially awkward people, Chi Wu and Hua Yu, stood off to the side in relief. Not having to handle this kind of situation themselves was a huge relief. He really is useful at times like this. Fong Xin picked up a broken piece from the flower pot. Hua Yu came over with a broom. Let me sweep it up. Aw, no need. I don't want to delay your work. He smiled. It's fine. I actually kind of like doing odd jobs in the shop. My parents live separately, and because of work, they often don't have time to look after me. Your family has helped take care of me, so I want to do whatever I can to repay you a little. I see. Why you felt sorry for him? His parents separated and can't keep him company? Even if it were me, at a time like high school, I'd feel lonely too. Hey, stop. By then, Fong Xin had already finished cleaning up. Please don't make that face. Otherwise, I'll have to figure out a way to cheer you up. Honestly, I've got a really strong mentality, not like some overly sensitive person. An arm suddenly shot out and grabbed Fong Xin. Chi Wu seized his shirt. Who are you talking about? Let's rule people out first. It definitely can't be me. Ouch, that hurts. Why you felt a little embarrassed. It had been such a dangerous moment. She had almost reflexively tried to comfort him, even though he clearly didn't need it. She looked at his back. Fang Xin, it seemed like no matter what happened, he could face it calmly and easily, far more mature than she had imagined. But a moment later, Fong Xin buried his head in his phone again in the middle of his homework pile, looking utterly depressed. She asked, an anti-addiction system? Chi Wu explained. This brat stole his parents' ID before to play games. He got caught, and now he's back to square one. Hey, don't tell me you're getting this upset over something like that. Fong Xin flopped onto the desk and wailed, I'm never going to have any joy in life again. Chi Wu, on the other hand, looked rather pleased. You can still play on weekends, even if it's only a pitiful 2 hours. Just do your homework properly. Do your homework properly, Fong Xin repeated miserably. Lend me your account. No, then I'll watch you play. Chi Wu pulled out his phone too. Your gear isn't even as good as mine. 2 days ago, I got a god-tier equipment set. It was insanely cool. Where? Teleport to the dark forest first. Wait by this well for the boss loot refresh. Kill it, and it'll randomly drop a curse stone. Then take the crystal back to the main city and talk to the witch to get the quest. That complicated? If it were that easy to get, it wouldn't be called god-tier gear. I spent a whole week on it. So annoying. Hey, if you think it's too much trouble, just lend me your account. I'll get it for you. Why you had held in long enough and finally exploded. Enough. How can you just let him play games? Isn't he taking the college entrance exam? Doesn't he need to do homework? Be serious. She took both of their phones away. I'm confiscating your phone too. Fong Xin froze, then laughed and teased her. Puffed. You really look like a parent right now, sis. Resting his chin on his hand, he looked at her over the desk. If I finish my homework, do I get a reward, sis? Hearing Fong Xion's request, Hua Yu paused in surprise. She thought for a moment. A reward? Then if you finish it, I'll let you play for half an hour. On Chi Wu's phone. Okay. Hua Yu took the phones and walked off. Before leaving, she even gave Fong Xion a thumbs up to cheer him on. Do your best, Commander Zhou. Chi Wu watched her retreating figure. Fong Xion noticed his reaction. He asked, weird. Normally you'd never let other people casually touch your things. Not even me. Then realization struck him. He cried out, since when did you two get this close? What happened? Stay out of it. At that, Fong Xin puffed out his cheeks in dissatisfaction and shouted, Sister Yu. Chi Wu had to pull him back. Stop yelling. Fong Xion smugly turned back to look at him. In the end, Chi Wu had no choice but to tell him everything. After hearing it, Fong Xion said, You snatch your phone and then quit the group too? In a girl's eyes, that kind of behavior would put you in massively negative points right away. Sister Yu really does have a good temper. She actually forgave you for that. Chi Wu sincerely admitted his mistake. He knew he had gone too far. That's why when I apologized, she said those things to me instead. And for a moment, I didn't know what to do. So I just did what she wanted. So obedient. Think of it as an apology gift. Doesn't that feel forced? To be honest, it is pretty inconvenient. I told you so. Chi Wu's hand brushed against his cup as he fell into thought. But this feeling isn't exactly unpleasant either. Feng Xian leaned back. Sister Yu is pretty impressive too. Chi Wu looked at him as if he didn't understand. Feng Xian explained. How do I put it? It feels like she has a kind of enthusiasm that's almost reckless. Normally, if people ran into someone like you, they'd stay as far away as possible, right? Ha ha ha. His comment made Chi Wu stiffen. I'm not trying to make fun of you, Feng Xian said. It's just that most people, when faced with that kind of situation, would think less trouble is better than more trouble. Why bring unhappiness onto yourself, right? At least, that's what I do. You're pretty cold, too. You're not exactly in a position to say that to me. But she didn't choose that. She was straightforward, but also reckless, and stuck her nose into your business. To go that far takes quite a bit of courage, too, doesn't it? After all, not everyone is willing to spend time on a stranger. That's something I could never do. Chi Wu felt that too. For someone like him, sunk in the grief of the past and shrinking back in fear, it really was a complete defeat. But not everyone would happily accept that kind of enthusiasm. He thought of Huayu. If she met someone like that, she would probably end up feeling hurt. Then Feng Xian smiled and looked up at the sky. Now I kind of want to bully her a little. Chi Wu, sitting beside him, said, You sure talk big for someone acting like he understands everything. In some ways, I've got way more experience than you. When you get flamed in games, you log off immediately. You haven't even held a girl's hand before. A brief silence followed, ending with Feng Xian getting smacked right on the head. Resorting to violence when you can't win the argument. At that moment, Huayu came back over, carrying a bouquet in her arms. Don't disturb him while he's studying. The imported flowers have arrived. Feng Xian ran behind her and tattled. Exactly. He keeps bullying me. He's so mean. Chi Wu looked aggrieved. Why do you always take his side? Huayu was completely bewildered by that expression. What kind of look was that supposed to be? Oh. Not willing to lose, Feng Xian leaned out and put on a pitiful face. Sis, protect me. Caught between the two of them, Huayu was at a total loss. What was going on? After the imported flowers were delivered, Chi Wu and Huayu started arranging them. All the flowers are here. All right, let's start organizing. There are actually this many. But Chi Wu suddenly remembered something his mother had once said. There could never be too many beautiful flowers. Huayu raised her arms and gathered all her hair up to tie it back. A pendant appeared at her neck, drawing his attention. Come to think of it, that pendant of yours. She smiled. The pendant? There's nothing to it. Anyway, it's all been so long ago. To find someone from 8 years ago in a sea of people, the odds are just too slim. True. Feng Xian, ever nosy, chimed in. Sis, what kind of person made such an impression on you for 8 whole years? Well, a childhood friend. Wow. Even after 3 years apart, you still can't forget him? You must really like him, huh? Huayu jolted. Chi Wu's gaze fell on Huayu's bright red face. What nonsense are you saying? So you didn't tell me because it was that kind of relationship? Huayu nearly jumped. No, it's not that. I just always wanted to thank him. Seeing her expression, Feng Xian thought to himself, She's flustered. Her face is so red. This is fun. Huayu explained in embarrassment. Even though I really don't want to admit it, there's actually no relationship between us at all. Then does that person have something to do with your pendant? If there are flower petals inside it, then why not let A Wu take a look? If he finds some kind of clue, it'll count as helping bring people together. It happens to be his field, right? What Feng Xian called his field was basically treating Chi Wu like a search dog. As if once he got a sniff, he'd be able to help Huayu identify the person she was looking for. That was what he meant. But the moment he finished speaking, a slap landed squarely on his head. Bringing people together? I don't even know what he looks like now. What if he already has a girlfriend? She actually started seriously considering it. Chi Wu stood up. I'm not joking around with you two anymore. This is boring. I just remembered I've got an order to deliver at 4. Oh, then hurry and go. I can handle the rest. You're really not helping. That pendant thing? I'm not some tracking dog. Chi-Wu walked out of the flower shop looking displeased, even shutting the door rather hard behind him. His mood doesn't seem too good, but Feng Xian, standing beside her, seemed oddly cheerful. Who knows? Chi-Wu was delivering flowers to a customer, but as he walked, he kept thinking, childhood friend? He recalled Hua Yu's reaction. Then why had she gotten so worked up? Suddenly, he realized his own emotions. Why am I getting worked up? TCH. Back in the shop, Hua Yu had finished her work and was cleaning up. She picked up a bag of trash and headed outside. Feng Xian, can you watch the shop for a bit? I want to take this out to the back alley. No problem. Hua Yu left the shop. The moment he saw she was gone, Feng Xian revealed a scheming look. What a perfect chance. He turned around, grabbed the phone, and prepared to slip out. Sorry, but right now I've got something even more important to do. Feng Xian went outside, whistling happily. There was so much homework. Of course he had to seize the chance to relax a little. Don't be mad at me. He kept walking, completely unaware of the sound of a woman's shoes behind him. Feng Xian slipped the phone into his pocket and happily recalled the message. Car number 10 is out. Come over to my place. Half an hour. Wait for me at the arcade. Then suddenly, he saw the figure of a woman. She said, Yo, isn't this little brother Feng Xian? The moment he heard that voice, he froze. Outside the building, birds chirped. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Meanwhile, Hua Yu was carefully sorting things out. When recyclables go over here, does plastic packaging count as recyclable? Suddenly, someone darted past behind her. Hua Yu quickly grabbed hold of him. Feng Xian thought, what rotten luck. I panicked for a second and actually chose this route. By the time I wanted to change directions, it was already too late. Seeing him, Hua Yu questioned him. Where are you going? Shouldn't you be in the shop doing homework? It was clear she had no intention of letting him go. You really make people worry. The two of them started arguing. Hua Yu said, if Chi-Wu finds out you're not here, he definitely won't be happy. What could be more important than studying? Feng Xian begged urgently, but I can't worry about all that right now. Sis, let me go first. I got something really urgent. Well, my friend told me he, wants to see me one last time. If I'm late, it'll be too late. As he spoke, he thought to himself, sorry, Xiaoguang. While they were still bickering, the sound of approaching footsteps clicked closer. Hearing that, Hua Yu hesitated. Oh, is that so? Pleased that she had believed him, Feng Xian said goodbye. Yeah. So hurry and let me go already. Then a voice reminded Hua Yu, friendly reminder, a man's words aren't worth believing at all. Hearing that, Feng Xian's expression changed. Oh no, I'm dead. Hua Yu looked up at the newcomer, arms crossed and clearly furious. Sister Jing said, long time no see, little brother Feng Xian. You've been hiding from me for a while now. You don't reply to my messages, you don't answer my calls. And now that we've finally met again, don't you have anything to say to me? Seeing how angry she was, Hua Yu froze and thought, isn't she the girl who came to buy flowers last time? Why does she look so furious? Feng Xian gave an innocent smile. I don't know either. Hua Yu quietly blamed herself. Lowering her head awkwardly, she said to him, it looks like she came for you. Oh no, what should we do? Your friend with the serious illness is still waiting for you. I shouldn't have stopped you. Seeing that she looked guilty, Feng Xian comforted her. It's okay. He can probably hang on a little longer. Then he smiled stiffly. What else can I do? He told himself, just face the storm. Then Feng Xian broke into a bright smile, waved at Sister Jing, and said breezily, Sis, long time no see. I missed you so much. Seeing that she still looked dissatisfied and a little angry, he continued, Sis, don't rush to get mad. Listen to me. It's not that I ignored your calls. The truth is, the thing I've been looking forward to most is talking to you. It's just that the exam is coming up, and my mom confiscated my phone, so I really had no way to be with you like before. Feng Xian put on a remorseful expression. You absolutely mustn't misunderstand me. Actually, all this time, I've still been thinking about you. And besides, I figured you might need some personal space, right? If I kept sticking to you all the time, you'd probably find me annoying too. He fell silent, then continued. It's my fault. Because of the exams, I neglected you. I've really been afraid that we'd just break up like this, but before he could finish, the person opposite him suddenly said, Stop. Stop right there. Sister Jing burst out laughing as she listened. You? Afraid of breaking up? Me needing space? You think you know that? Ha ha. As if she'd heard the funniest joke in the world, she laughed loudly. Ha ha! Feng Xian started to feel uneasy, while Huayu asked worriedly, "Is she? What's wrong?" Pointing angrily at him, Sister Jing snapped, "What kind of prize catch do you think you are? You want to trick me again? You think I came here to beg you back?" Feng Xian was startled and a little flustered. Then suddenly a cheerful young man came running over, calling out, "Sister Jing, taro milk tea, white pearls, no boba, 30% sugar, less ice, just the way you like it. I brought it for you." The moment Feng Xian saw him, he thought bitterly, where did this clingy guy crawl out from? What's with acting cute? Sister Jing hurried over to the young man, hooked her arm through his intimately, and announced, "I came here just to tell you, I've already got a new little brother. He's taller, more handsome, and cuter than you. Did you really think I care that much about you? Stop flattering yourself. You were only ever one of many little brothers to me." Hearing that, Feng Xian froze and stared wide-eyed. Huayu had no idea how she was supposed to react either. He lowered his head in disappointment and said nothing. Then Feng Xian said to her, "Sis, you dumped me that fast? I really did have a lot of fun when I was with you." Sister Jing replied, "If we hadn't known each other for so long, I might actually have believed your nonsense." Standing beside them, Huayu found it hard to believe. So Feng Xian got dumped, but as an outsider, it probably wasn't good for her to judge their relationship. Suddenly Sister Jing shoved her face right up close to Huayu's, startling her. Sister Jing said, "I've seen you before. You're an employee at the flower shop next door, right? You're actually pretty cute." Huayu never expected to be complimented, and was so surprised she could hardly believe it. "Goo, me? Is she complimenting me?" Then Sister Jing added, "But your judgment is awful." Huayu was bewildered, but Sister Jing turned away and said, "Well, saying that is kind of like insulting the old me too." Then she warned Huayu, "Let me warn you, don't be fooled by his appearance. This kind of person is best at sweet-talking his way into your good graces. But the moment you take it seriously, he'll immediately disappear on you. Then you realize how stupid you look for being sincere." Tisich, hearing that, Feng Xian fell silent and murmured gloomily, "I just wanted to make you happy." He continued, "I know I was wrong. If I change, would it still be in time?" Sister Jing waved her hand casually. "Impossible. There's no chance anymore." She said bluntly, "I hereby declare that I've completely dumped you. From now on, we won't have any relationship whatsoever." Hearing that, Feng Xian looked dejected. At last, she turned around, linked arms with the young man, and said, "That's it. Don't let the bad ending spoil your mood. Bye." Feng Xian watched her back as she left. The atmosphere around them turned painfully quiet. Huayu looked at him and sensed just how awkward the situation was now. He probably didn't want anyone seeing him like this. She smiled and tried to comfort him. "I absolutely won't tell anyone about this." She thought her words would ease his heart, but unexpectedly Feng Xian immediately brightened, let out a relieved sigh, and said, "Phew, finally got that taken care of. Happy breakup. Bye-bye." Huayu froze at his reaction and asked the person in front of her, "That miserable look just now, was it all fake?" Feng Xian glanced back at her. He explained, "Her whole purpose was to see me feeling bad. I just played along with what she wanted. Once she was satisfied, of course she'd let me go." Then, cheerfully and matter-of-factly, he added, "Less pointless arguing and less meaningless entanglement. It's better for both sides. Everyone ends up happy." Suddenly Huayu remembered what Sister Jing had said. Don't be fooled by his appearance. All at once, she understood. Sure enough, that woman was right. Huayu said frankly, "What the heck? I worried over nothing, and was even afraid you'd be upset." Feng Xian seemed very surprised by her words. He turned back and sighed. "She was worried about me." She said honestly, "If it was just going to end this awkwardly anyway, then wouldn't it have been better to focus on your studies from the start?" Hearing that, Feng Xian commented, "Such an old-fashioned parent way of thinking." Looking straight at her, he said, "Actually, my grades probably aren't as worrying as you think." Huayu exclaimed, "So you're actually a good student?" Seeing her reaction, Feng Xian praised her in return. "You got into university too, so you're pretty amazing yourself." She continued, "No wonder you never looked anxious at all, right? Weren't you in a hurry to go see your friend?" Feng Xin Laoget. Haha, I lied to you. She stepped up onto the curb. Turning around, she said to him, "Then you can keep lying if you want, and go do whatever it is you want to do." Hearing that, he suddenly felt at ease. "It just feels like I don't need to lie to you." Huayu turned her head, a little confused. Sweet talk. She picked up the watering hose, and water came rushing out. As she watered the plants, Feng Xian asked about what happened just now. Don't you have anything to say? She hadn't expected him to ask that, so she asked back, why would I need to say anything? Feng Xian gave a clueless grin. Hee, I was just curious. Aren't you supposed to be the super enthusiastic type who loves getting involved in other people's business? So why is it different when it comes to me? Why you looked up at him? She lowered her head and admitted, I really don't have any experience at all, so I'm not really qualified to comment. Besides, you always seem to have your own mind made up, like you don't need me to do anything, right? Feng Xian rested both hands behind his head. Hearing that, he looked a little disappointed. You really lack confidence. It's not like you need experience in everything before you can say what you think. And besides, it's not like you have no experience at all. Why you froze when she heard that? Don't you still remember someone for 8 whole years? She let out a helpless sigh, not knowing why it suddenly felt like he had found her weak spot. The wind stirred the flower petals, making them rustle softly. She continued. Both of them said they broke up unhappily in the end. Even if it was reluctant, and even if it was embarrassing in the end, at least they were happy when they were together, right? Why you understood that herself too. In truth, during that short time she had spent with that person in her childhood, she had been very happy too. She turned off the hose and said, even though that memory has gradually faded with time, I can't even clearly remember what he looked like anymore. Feng Xian was startled when he heard that. Maybe he forgot a long time ago. In the end, I'm the only one who still remembers. The two of them fell silent. Feng Xian looked at her and said, no way. Hua Yu turned and glanced at him. He looked unusually resolute. If you were able to remember that person for so long, then I think to him, you must be just as special too. Even if he's forgotten for now, that's okay. Hua Yu listened as he went on. I believe that if you two meet again, the moment you call out to him, he'll definitely remember. Fang Xin's my Wam Li. I'm not saying this just to comfort you. I really do think so, because flowers have that kind of magic. Deeply moved, Hua Yu said, thank you. Once again, he had comforted her. After comforting her, Feng Xian suddenly remembered something and said, oh, right about that. Seeing how worried he was, Hua Yu said, don't worry. I won't tell Qi Wu. She reminded him carefully, but you should rein in that sharp edge of yours a little. Be careful, or you'll end up drawing trouble to yourself. Feng Xin Laoget, that won't happen. After letting her hair down, she turned away. Walking behind her, he said, now I owe you a favor. If you ever need my help later, just say the word. Hua Yu paused. No need to wait until later. Feng Xian looked surprised when he heard that. He repeated in disbelief. You want me to help you find a flower? Hua Yu said happily, After hearing what you just said, I suddenly found the courage to go look for him. Feng Xian looked pleased. Then that's great. She admitted, actually, the first time I came into the shop, I saw one that looked exactly like the one in my memory. Hua Yu recalled that moment. But before I could get a good look at it, Qi Wu snatched it away. He was really harsh about it. Feng Xian got angry. That guy actually dared to snap at you? I have to find a chance to teach him a lesson for you. She said gloomily. Later on, whenever I asked him about it, he kept dodging the subject. Actually, I just want to see it one more time. Standing beside her, he thought it over. If that's the case, I know a place that might have the flower you're looking for. It's just that. Her eyes lit up like stars as she asked, Where? Where? Seeing her expression, Feng Xian thought, oh, she suddenly got excited. Looking at her eager face, Hua Yu was clearly in a very good mood right now. He leaned over and glanced around the shop. Then he reached out, grabbed Hua Yu by the wrist, and pulled her along. As he tugged her, Feng Xian said, while they're not here, come with me. Feeling a little alarmed, she asked, sneaking around like this, where are you taking me? Seeing her concern, he said casually, don't worry about it. Just follow me. Feng Xian led her to a dim room with barely any light. He said to Hua Yu, follow me. He opened the door. Creak. The two of them stepped inside. Inside was a flower room, but it was very dark. Hua Yu asked nervously, Thetis, what place is this? It doesn't seem right for us to just come in without permission. Feng Xian held her by the shoulders and gently pushed her forward, reassuring her. Come on, don't overthink it. Hurry up and see if the flower you mentioned is here. She turned to look at him suspiciously. You troublemaker. Do you do this all the time? He joked, just a few minutes. No one will notice, but try not to make any noise. Then he reassured her again, and don't worry. Even if we do get caught, I definitely won't let you take any blame. She covered his mouth. No, MMGH, she said firmly. We absolutely cannot do this kind of sneaking around. Seeing her expression, Fong Xin felt a little awkward. She turned around and shut the door. The point isn't how long we stay. Going into someone else's room without permission is wrong. He said, you're way too serious. We were just going in to take a quick look. Then he added, what's so bad about taking a little risk once in a while? Just then, something landed on the bridge of his nose. Fan xin ski mean fry. What's on my face? It hurts. Worried, she called out Fong. Fan xin. She slapped at it and knocked the bee away. Smack! He crouched down by the door in fear, and Huayu reminded him, Sure, it was just a bee. Keep it down, or someone will hear us. Only then did he realize he had just shouted. Oh, sorry. The way they looked at that moment was pretty funny. He was sitting on the floor while Huayu stood there. The two of them suddenly burst out laughing. Ha, she said, the way you screamed just now, you really looked like a mole. He laughed too. And you caught a bee with your bare hands. That's pretty impressive. She reached out and helped him to his feet. Fong Xin said, fine then. Since you care that much, we won't go in. Then he added, but don't worry. I'll definitely help you fulfill your wish. She reminded him, but no more sneaking around. Just then, a figure was approaching. That night, Huayu asked Fong Xin, are you okay? Does it hurt where you fell? Should I get you some ice? He replied, I'm fine, sis. Don't treat me like a little kid. I'm almost 18, you know. She said, being a teenager doesn't mean you can handle everything. Suddenly, the two of them sensed a strange killing intent. Chi Wu said, that miserable scream sounded pretty pleasing to the ear. The two of them jumped in fright. He was furious. What good deed have you done this time? Fong Xin was startled. He swallowed hard. Trying to change the subject, he stammered, it's not here either. Where did my student ID run off to? He tried to dodge him. Sis, let's go look in the flower garden. But Chi Wu stopped him. Stay right there. He said angrily, don't think I don't know what you were trying to do. Did you forget the rules in this shop? Fong Xin broke out in a sweat. I didn't forget. We absolutely can't go into her room. We weren't even planning to go in. Don't be so serious. But inwardly he thought, crap, looks like he's really angry this time. Huayu stepped in to stop him. Chi Wu, don't be like this. Actually, this isn't his fault. He just, in a small voice, Fong Xin pleaded, please don't hit my face. Huayu continued, I'm the one who asked him to take me. Ow! Her soft cry made both boys turn their attention to her. Chi Wu noticed and grabbed Huayu's hand. Fong Xin was concerned too. There, just now. Only then did she realize she had underestimated the bee. Her hand was slightly swollen and red with a stinging pain. Chi Wu said to Fong Xin, you shouldn't have brought her here. Fan Xin Zipli saw the... It's my fault. Chi Wu was still clearly angry with him. Chi Wu said, now you should understand that acting recklessly like this causes a lot of trouble for other people. It's a good thing you two didn't go into the room. If you had, it would have been even more troublesome. Fong Xin said, I only know we're not allowed in the room, but why do you have to be this strict about it? Chi Wu replied, that's none of your concern. Rules are rules. And you don't want it getting back to your mother that you caused trouble again, do you? Just then, when Huayu reached to touch it, Chi Wu smacked her hand away. Don't touch it with your hand. Be careful, or it'll get infected. She said, sorry. He said, right now it's just a sting. But if my mother finds out someone touched the things in her room, she might shut down the flower shop for a while. Fan xin lauet, do you really have to be this tense? Ha. Hearing that, Chi Wu snapped. I'm not in the mood to joke around with you right now. Fong Xin was intimidated. Chi Wu said, don't blame me for not sparing your feelings. You really went too far this time. Do you think everything can just be laughed off with a grin? You're always so smug, relying on your little bit of cleverness. But in the end, you're still just a high school student who never thinks about the consequences of what he does. You're still wet behind the ears. Fong Xin looked a little stiff after hearing that and said, sorry. Seeing how tense things had become, Huayu felt awkward and panicked. She tugged at his sleeve and said, don't blame Fong Xin. I was the one who wanted him to take me around. I didn't know it would cause trouble. She said, sorry for causing everyone trouble. Chi Wu noticed that too. He said, since when did you two get so close? You keep covering for him. She was startled. It's not covering for him. Then Chi Wu led Huayu away. Come here. I'll clean and treat the sting for you. She thought, he changes his face fast. Fan Xin Vilda. He recalled what Chi Wu had said. You're always so smug, relying on your little bit of cleverness. But in the end, you're still just a high school student who never thinks about the consequences. Still wet behind the ears. He thought, did he really have to put it so harshly? Feng Xan stood silently in the noisy corridor, crowded with people coming and going, and sent Huayu a message. How's your hand? Does it still hurt? One hand in his pocket, he leaned casually against the wall and looked at the message he had just sent. Then he quietly put away his phone and vaguely replayed everything that had happened. The first time he had ever embarrassed himself like this in front of a girl. Looking so pathetic after being scared half to death by a bee, and then having his sore spot mercilessly exposed by his older brother figure. The more Feng Xian thought about it, the more humiliated he felt. He lifted his chin slightly and looked up at the clear sky, full of thoughts. I might as well turn into a cake and let someone eat me up already. A light breeze slipped through his soft hair, making it even more tousled. On the handsome face of the young boy was all the distress and shy confusion of a nameless feeling. It all formed a scene brimming with the gentle, heart-stirring air of youth. Suddenly, the class bell rang harshly. The students in the hallway hurriedly called to one another. Class is starting. Let's get back. Come on, let's go. He was left there alone, still lost in thought. Just then, two male classmates came running over excitedly with their things and called out, Feng Xian, come on, let's play for a bit. Feng Xian swept his gaze over them for a few seconds, then turned and walked away. Before leaving, he waved them off. You guys go ahead. I'm not going. The other boy looked utterly confused and immediately asked, It's PE class. It's rare for the homeroom teacher not to take over our PE period. If you don't go, that's a huge loss. Besides, you were the one who told me to bring the game over. Don't you want to try the new game? Feng Xian's ears perked up and a trace of hesitation appeared on his face, but in the end he steeled himself. No, I'm going back to class to study. His two friends were stunned and could only stare at the boys retreating back. Only after a while did they ask each other blankly, did he take the wrong medicine or something? The other one was just as baffled. Very likely. At that moment, on the east side of the library, Huayu was standing by the window, holding a cup and enjoying the breeze with a deeply satisfied look on her small face. Her chestnut brown hair was let down naturally, simple and unadorned, yet made her seem warm and approachable. Petals drifted down with the wind, brushing over the top of her head before floating away again, as if leaving a gentle kiss there. She couldn't help curving her lips, enjoying the pleasant atmosphere, and thought to herself, the breeze is warm. It feels so nice. Someone, unable to stand the sight, suddenly spoke up. Looking at that expression of yours is making me strangely irritated. While you dreamily looked toward the source of the voice and realized it was Chi Wu. He was walking over with a stack of documents held over his head to block the sun, while his other hand tugged at his collar to fan some air in and cool off. He was drenched in sweat, and the handsome young man's face was flushed red from the heat. Before she could say anything, he added, You look pretty relaxed, don't you? First-year junior? He deliberately emphasized those last 4 words, but Huayu only answered him with a calm, unbothered expression. She opened her eyes wide innocently and replied directly, If this first-year senior hadn't skipped class, it wouldn't have come to this. Maybe the remark hit too hard, because he gave a guilty huff. After all, who on campus didn't know that Chi Wu, the first-year senior, was now frantically making up credits after fighting, ditching class, and skipping school? She didn't press the issue any further and instead took out a tiny handheld fan shaped like a flower petal, pastel pink and unbelievably cute. Then she switched it on and pointed it straight at Chi Wu. Here, use this for now. This sudden action made Chi Wu, who had been desperately fanning himself with the documents, pause for a moment. His deep eyes flicked over the fan, and he said bluntly, No thanks. It's a girl thing. At that, Huayu looked slightly awkward, but quickly shot back. So what if it's a girl thing? If it's useful, then use it. Now a little annoyed, she raised her voice. If you don't believe me, try it. It's super cool. Your scalp's already drenched in sweat, so what are you still being picky about? Chi-Woo stepped over to the window where Hua-Yu was standing. He lowered his head helplessly, his voice slightly embarrassed. It's not that I don't believe you. He lifted the stack of documents and gave her outstretched arm a light tap with it, then raised his head a little and faced the girl in front of him. Do you really think I suit something like this? Hua-Yu was still holding out the fan toward him, so when he stepped close, the little fan ended up right on top of his head. It looked ridiculously funny, making her go blank for a moment. Neither of them said anything, just stared at each other like that. Suddenly, a girl's voice sounded from outside the door. Sorry we're late. Have you figured out what topic to choose for discussion yet, Hua-Yu? She instinctively pulled her hand back and quickly turned around. I've thought of a few. We can pick one together. The three girls walked in together. One of them smiled gently and said with concern, Good work. Who were you talking to just now? Why you let out a small huh? As she spoke, she turned her head toward the window. I was just with, but when she looked back, there was no one standing there anymore. She pointed the little fan at her own face, letting the hair behind her flutter, and thought quietly, he's gone. Before she could finish thinking, the three girls had already rushed over to where she was standing and started excitedly chattering as if they had discovered something incredible. Wah, was that Senior Chi-Woo just now? Where? Let me see. Hua-Yu, were you talking to him just now? Not bad. The three of them talked all at once, leaving Hua-Yu frozen, with three giant question marks practically appearing over her head. The girls' little marketplace of chatter didn't stop there. They went on discussing all sorts of things about him. Most of it was along the lines of, even though he's kind of weird, he really does have a lot of face fans, haha. Don't worry, we just like admiring handsome guys a little. A good-looking guy with that kind of cold vibe is best appreciated from a distance. Yeah. If a guy's too handsome, you actually stop considering dating him. It just feels unrealistic. Handsome? I don't really think so. I like the cute type, like Mickey and Saunosuk. That's even more unrealistic, okay? Ha. Hua-Yu could only smile along stiffly and think to herself, haha. Girls really are cute when they discuss this kind of thing. Another girl suddenly turned the topic to her. Hua-Yu, what about you? What type do you like? Caught off guard, she blinked in surprise. Me? Even before she answered, the face of that boy with a radiant smile had already appeared in her mind. Suddenly her phone chimed, signaling a new message. Hua-Yu opened it and saw it was from Fong Xian. The cute sticker he sent made her laugh out loud without meaning to. She immediately replied, It doesn't hurt anymore. It's just still a little swollen. It should be fine in 2 days, and added an extra super cute head patting sticker. Right after replying to Fong Xian, she also received a message from the class monitor in the class group chat, Genius Children of the Gods, which said, Announcement. After discussion among the class committee, it has been decided that at 6 p.m. on the 21st, we'll hold a get-together so everyone can build closer bonds. The location is set as Rabbit Street Eatery on West Street. Everyone must attend. The class monitor raised the beer can in his hand and shouted, Come on. Even though not many people are here this time, we still have to be enthusiastic. Cheers! The mood was gloomy. Even though everyone raised the beer cans in their hands, there was little real enthusiasm. The class monitor screamed inwardly in despair and thought bitterly, Even the people who came are this lifeless. He angrily tapped on his phone and growled, I'm going to take a ton of pictures and send them to the group chat, so those people who didn't come can see how much delicious food I prepared. I'm going to make them regret it so much it hurts. The others laughed awkwardly. A male student comforted him, saying, Come on, class monitor. Even if you get more worked up, the people who didn't want to come still won't come. For people who are afraid of socializing, a situation like this just makes them want to get away as fast as possible, right? The class monitor immediately shot back. Your body temperature is 37 degrees. So how can you say something so cold? He hugged his head, threw his face upward, and cried out in despair. What is wrong with young people these days? Do they dislike socializing that much? Don't they want to take this chance to find a boyfriend or girlfriend? I seriously don't get it. The girl sitting beside him also smiled stiffly with a beer can in hand. She thought in irritation, even people who came here hoping to find a relationship are probably regretting it badly right now. None of the guys here are my type. Across from her, A bespectacled boy grinned foolishly and waved, saying, "She's looking at me." "Hi." Beside him, 3 boys were enthusiastically discussing a game. One said admiringly, "Wow, a 10-hit combo," and it even wiped them all out. The boy holding the phone was thrilled. "Awesome, awesome." Meanwhile, the last one just ate chips and watched. The girl clutched a tissue and dabbed at her tears in misery, lamenting inwardly, "At this point, only this can comfort me." She turned and said, "Thanks, Huayu. I didn't expect you to make a little gift for everyone too." The dried flower bookmarks are so cute. I really like them. Huayu, sitting beside her, let out a surprised little huh. The girl hurriedly continued, "You're actually really gentle. At first I thought you seemed fierce, so I was a little scared of you. I am honestly sorry." Blushing, Huayu smiled shyly and said softly, "Not at all. I'm glad you like it." That female classmate suddenly leaned against Huayu and rubbed her head against her contentedly, saying, "Girls really are better." The action startled Huayu so much that the food in her hand fell. Flushed red, she cried out inwardly in excitement, "Teach this. I did it." She recalled earlier when Feng Xin had told her how to get close to people more quickly. Huayu had answered shyly and hesitantly, "It's because I'm afraid that when I get nervous and my face goes stiff, other people will misunderstand me." So, Feng Xin had suppressed a laugh and said delightedly, "That really is true. It's already become your habit." Huayu had immediately grown embarrassed. Feng Xin then smiled brightly and said, "But you asked the right person. Your consultant here happens to have a great method." Huayu asked eagerly, "What is it? Hurry and tell me." He raised a finger excitedly and said, "Buy people's hearts with money. Nobody dislikes money." Huayu froze on the spot, staring blankly in thought. Then she folded her arms, pondered, and agreed. "Is that so?" Feng Xin panicked and shouted in disbelief, "Huh?" He quickly said anxiously, "Hey, wait. I'm kidding. Don't take it seriously. I was just joking." Feng Xin stared at her in alarm. He continued, "You know me, I like joking around. Whatever I do, I can easily take it too far." He awkwardly scratched his head and smiled. "You really don't need to listen to someone like me. I'm the least reliable kind of person. My friends have all said so too." Huayu replied, "Why would you talk about yourself like that?" Feng Xin looked back at her in surprise. Full of concern, she continued, "To me, your suggestions are always very helpful. I should be thanking you. When you talk about yourself like that, it makes me, the one who trusts you, seem like a fool instead. So next time, don't put yourself down like that again, okay?" Feng Xin had never expected her to say something like that, and could only stare blankly and answer, "Okay." Now, back in the present, with her female classmate leaning on her, Huayu thought happily. As expected, consultant Feng Xin's advice is always useful. Money, material things, gifts, right? Making some cute little presents really can convey goodwill to everyone. It wasn't really about buying people over. She just wanted to improve herself a little more when it came to socializing. At that moment, the other girls began chatting excitedly. Someone said, "This is enough food for 20 people. There's no way just a few of us can finish it. If you don't mind, I can call a few more schoolmates over." "Sure, get a few more people and it'll be livelier." Huayu was thoroughly enjoying the bustling atmosphere. A little later, a young man was passionately singing. The sunset fades, the world sinks into a river of light, while the others cheered and clapped along. The singing continued. Perhaps this was what an unexpected summer night was like, everyone enjoying the lively atmosphere together. Huayu held the beer can in her hand, though the singing beside her went on. So what if time slips away? She sat quietly in a corner, drinking from her beer can. Looking at the lively scene, she thought, I wonder why, but the more lively the occasion is, the easier it is for a little loneliness to well up inside me instead. She looked down at her palm pressed against the beer can. The reddened skin there throbbed with pain. Her eyes silently brimmed with sorrow. Huayu remembered how this wound had once been carefully treated, medicine applied little by another hand. She thought to herself, actually at the time, I had a small impulsive plan in mind. If he had asked what I was going upstairs for, I would have taken the opportunity to bring up that flower pot. But he didn't say a single word. He didn't give me even the slightest chance. Extremely puzzled, she thought back and wondered why avoid it. What exactly is the connection between him and that boy? In her troubled mood, Huayu shut her eyes and lifted the beer can to drink alone again. But suddenly a hand slipped in, pulled the can away from her lips, and pushed it aside. Huayu turned in confusion. Feng Xn had appeared right before her and hurriedly said with concern, "The swelling hasn't gone down completely yet, so don't drink alcohol." Holding the can to stop her, he said, "Sister Huayu." As the two of them walked and chatted on the street, a friend said, "Strange, why does it feel like lately you've been fooling around a lot less? Are you okay?" Feng Xin answered while looking at his phone, "Have I? I've always been like this." His friend retorted, "Liar. In every cram class, don't you always come up with all kinds of excuses to skip?" The friend said, "Though honestly, with your grades now, you really don't need it. It's just that your mom keeps forcing you." Feng Xin suddenly widened his eyes when he saw something. He turned back and said, "Bye, I've got something to do. I'm heading off first. If the teacher asks, help me cover for me." His friend called after him in confusion, "Hey." The boy watched him leave in bafflement. "Damn, I just praised him too." In the darkness, Huayu was sitting there when she saw a hand take the beer can in front of her. She was startled. "Fang Xin, why are you here?" He set the beer can down. Two of her friends noticed him and greeted him. "Long time no see, Junior Feng Xin." One of them called out, "Huayu, come sing with us." She refused. No thanks. I'm just going to rest for a bit." Feng Xin smiled brightly and replied, "Hello, seniors. I saw the video Sister Huayu sent to the schoolmates group, so I came over." The three of them immediately chatted back and forth animatedly. "You're already in 12th grade and still playing around like this. Don't your parents care? As long as I keep my ranking steady, they won't say anything. Ugh, how annoying." Sure enough, people with good grades get to do whatever they want. Sitting beside them, Huayu felt disappointed. She thought, seriously, he's really good at this. So he only came here to have fun. I actually thought. She awkwardly caught herself at that strange thought. She shook her head and told herself, I must have drunk too much. My mind's not clear. She picked up her phone and typed a few lines. She pondered for a moment, then decided not to send it after all. Tangled in thought, she wondered, if I do this, won't I be acting like a tattletale? What am I even doing? Even his family isn't bothered by it. She sighed and propped her chin up as she watched them. Everyone was chatting enthusiastically. She thought, they're talking so happily. They must have known each other for a long time, right? Well, that makes sense. Someone like Feng Xian obviously has a lot of friends. If I really did that, I'd just ruin everyone's mood. She picked up the beer can and decided, forget it. I won't meddle in something that isn't my business. Feng Xian took that beer can from her. He reminded her, I already checked. If you've been stung by a bee, you can't drink alcohol. She said irritably, Is that so? Then I'll just eat. He warned her, Go easy on the spicy food too. Puffing out her cheeks, she snapped angrily, What is it with you? I'm not even bothering about you anymore. So why are you the one saying no to this and no to that? He was baffled. Whoa, are you drunk? Why are you suddenly mad? She turned her face away. Sorry, go back over there and sing. My mood is just a little. She felt upset with Chi Wu and upset with Feng Xian too. He plopped down beside her and complained, Geez, this is what I get for trying to help. I only came here because of you. He said worriedly, because I was the one who got you hurt, I was worried drinking would affect your health. Even though I know you're very thoughtful and independent, when you live alone, there are times when you'll inevitably be careless. When I'm careless, a way reminds me. So when you let your guard down, I also want to use my own way to take care of you. He grumbled, Besides, when you're alone and not feeling well, your temper gets prickly. You were the one snapping at me just now, you know? Boo-hoo. Huayu was startled and felt embarrassed, blushing awkwardly. She said in surprise, Oh, really? I didn't expect you to understand so much. He replied, That's experience from someone who's lived alone for years. Seeing how shy she looked, he teased with a grin, Ah, you're blushing. She denied it. It's the alcohol. I'm only just now getting drunk. She said, I'm a little dizzy. Let's make an excuse and leave early. He answered readily, I've been waiting for you to say that. By that brightly lit building, Feng Xian handed her a bottle of water. She took it. Here, thanks. How much was it? I'll transfer it to you. He refused. No need. I can still afford to treat you to one bottle of water. She said, Thanks. The two of them walked together. He said in surprise, Though now that I think about it, I really thought you wouldn't drink. She smiled confidently. Then you've underestimated me. She shared, Actually, I quite like drinking. Whatever worries I have, I can temporarily forget them. He laughed. Is that so? Then I'll try it next time, too. Hearing that, She immediately raised her voice and warned him, underage teenagers are not allowed to drink. Helpless, he said, got it. Seriously, drunk, and you still don't forget to lecture people. After thinking for a moment, he said, honestly, I'm really sorry. He admitted his fault. I couldn't find the flower, and because of that you couldn't even drink properly. She froze. The flower? Then she comforted him, it's okay. But right after that, tears suddenly slipped from her eyes without her realizing it. The next morning, in a bedroom, Feng Xin was lying on his bed. He was deep in thought. He remembered how Hua Yu had suddenly burst into tears. Flustered, he had asked, "Hey, are you feeling sick?" She shook her head. No. Wiping her tears, she apologized. I just suddenly remembered why I wanted a drink. Sorry for scaring you. I must really be drunk. I lost control of myself a little. She had said awkwardly, actually, I rarely cry. I don't know what happened today. Hick, sorry. I think I even ate a bit too much. Thinking back, Feng Xin wondered, was it because I mentioned that flower? He brooded, that flower. Does it really weigh on her heart that much? He recalled she even cried. To be honest, in a situation like that, I should have been able to handle it easily. He abruptly sat up. He thought gloomily, but this time, somehow I really couldn't do it. While Chiwu was working, he heard clattering outside and glanced over. Feng Xin walked in, but said nothing, which made Chiwu irritated. What's wrong with you? Feng Xin took one look at him, then dropped to his knees and clutched his leg, groaning, Brother Chiwu, please have mercy, noble sir. Startled, Chiwu shouted, get away from me. Feng Xin declared stubbornly, I won't, unless you bring out that flower pot. The two looked at each other in silence for a while. Chiwu asked, I've noticed, you care about this way too much. You weren't like this before. Feng Xin answered, that's because she's someone who can make the person I care about change. Chiwu scolded, you're disgusting. Then Feng Xin sighed and confessed, actually it's because I made her cry. Chiwu was struck as if by lightning and immediately flew into a rage. Feng Xin explained, I've been wrong. I'm not the real culprit. Chiwu asked, then what else could the reason be? Feng Xin pointed at him. You. Chiwu frowned in confusion. Me? Feng Xin not that? She cried, because of the flower. Chiwu was stunned when he heard Feng Xin say, I really don't understand. What's so special about that flower pot that you won't even let anyone see it? Do you really need to hide it so carefully? He continued, I don't know what she went through before that made her remember it so deeply. I'm fine with whatever, but you can do it, right? He cast a probing glance at him, then put on a pitiful act and wailed, you treat people so well and so sincerely, yet someone won't even help with one tiny thing. She could only drink alone to drown her sorrows, and even had to pretend nothing had happened. Hearing that, Chi Wu's face darkened. Feng Xin continued accusing him. Right, of course, since she wasn't crying in front of you, you can just pretend you don't know. Even though a girl crying is a very serious matter, and it was because of you, no less, but someone as gentle and understanding as Sister Hua Yu definitely won't blame you. At most, she'll just be disappointed. It's fine. Hearing that, Chi Wu broke out in a cold sweat, thoroughly anxious. He lowered his head, weighed down with worry. Seeing this, Feng Xin was extremely pleased and grinned smugly. He feels guilty. Smiling, he urged, actually, I think you're being too serious, acting like the consequences would be terrible. Just lending it out for a bit won't be a problem. Besides, I can even help cover for you. I'm very experienced in this kind of thing. He rambled on. To be honest, I've gone in there once before, and nothing happened. She can't be any. Chi Wu's eyes widened in shock. He asked, you've gone in before? Feng Xin ansua, yeah, a long time ago. After that I never went in again, so don't worry. Chi Wu asked curiously, when? Feng Xin thought for a moment. Let me see. Probably 8, 9, maybe 10 years ago. I don't remember exactly. I was way too young then, only a few years old. Chi Wu pressed further. Did you take anything with you back then? Feng Xin stammered. Oh, of course not. He gave a strained laugh, then said, hey, wait, that's not the point. We were talking about Hua Yu. Chi Wu turned his chair around. There's no room for negotiation. Go home. Feng Xin persisted. Hey, can't you be a little flexible? This is really important to her. You're only lending it out for a little while. Chi Wu explained, the issue isn't whether I lend it or not. Just like you said, it's better if I pretend I don't know. Feng Xin, Villa. Weren't we talking just fine a second ago? Why all of a sudden? Chiwu stayed silent without looking back. Feng Xin's, Thai Fen. Then he puffed out his cheeks in annoyance and stormed out. Fine then, I'm leaving. Bye. But before leaving, he still didn't forget to throw out a few infuriating words. Selfish, cold, heartless. He slammed the door. As he walked away, he felt guilty. Sorry, Sister Huayu. I really try my best. He told himself. Next time I'll buy her some cake as an apology. Huayu was sleeping soundly when her phone suddenly rang noisily. She answered hello. A voice came from the other side. It's me, she said in surprise. Chiwu, why are you calling so late? He said, come out for a moment. She put on a light outer robe and sleepily walked out. What is it? I'm so sleepy. Then her eyes widened in astonishment. Chiwu was holding that flower pot. Huayu hurried down the stairs. She looked around and a voice called from behind, hey. Chiwu stood behind a wall and beckoned. Over here. She nodded. He held the flower pot and waited for her to come over. He glanced at her. She asked, it's so late. Why are you? He looked at her and teased. I heard someone cry their eyes out. Can I come enjoy the gossip? Huayu was so embarrassed she didn't know how to respond. Ah, that loudmouth Feng Xian. I clearly told him not to tell anyone about something that humiliating. Chiwu said, you didn't see what he was like. He clung to me and cried and begged nonstop, practically short of kowtowing in front of me. Huayu laughed. If Feng Xian were here, he'd definitely shout. Do you even understand what it means to bend when necessary? Chiwu asked. So, are you feeling better now? Huayu was surprised, then smiled happily. Thank you, all of you. He seemed moved by that smile. Turning his face away, he held the flower pot out in front of her and said, hurry and take out the necklace. I might regret this if you wait too long. She stared at him in surprise and asked, but didn't you say there were rules in the shop? He answered, just ignore that. Then he muttered, besides, there's something I want to confirm too. Her eyes widened with interest. She asked, are there really other people like you in this world? He answered, probably not. She asked curiously, then would you ever sell this kind of flower? Now, or in the past? He said no. My mother put a lot of care and effort into growing this. She treasures it dearly. She looked at him in surprise.